All right. So, looks like we're getting ready for the KungFuJoe Evolution Roadshow, starting shortly when everybody is available. All right, starting the call up.
All right.
And we are in. So let me switch up the input. Welcome, welcome. Wait, that's not the
Yo.
right one. There it is. Failed to start camera. Well, that makes sense.
What the fuck?
There we go.
Testing. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
I can't hear.
Absolutely.
I can't hear you guys.
Well, we hear you just fine.
Hold on.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Mhm.
He'll figure it out eventually. He got his nice fancy new mic and all that good stuff. Picked up some new fits to do battle in for the future. Yeah, I see this.
There you go.
And nice to meet you, Bones of Doom.
Likewise. There we go. That's what I needed.
So we are gathered here today to figure out whether evolution is true or false. What's the premise of this prompt?
I'm more than happy to start with the idea that evolution is unfalsifiable.
Testing. Okay. Can you guys hear me? My mic goes out. I think it
Loud
doesn't.
and clear.
It doesn't mic. It will drop it sometimes where it says it doesn't recognize it.
Matter of fact, I have to turn
So
you down
if I go
ever so
out-
slightly. So let me get these levels
You wanna
straight.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know when we're ready to go, and then I guess Bones, you can go ahead and open.
Well, we are live. So
Oh,
what is the
could
prompt,
I
Joe? What is the prompt, Joe?
It's a defense. Bones is going to defend evolution.
Okay.
Basically.
So
So it's basically
you are
it's whether or
Bones
not
is the affirmative, you are the negative.
Yeah,
could
perfect.
we
All right.
just lay down some ground rules before we begin, Leith, if it's okay with you, since
By
you're
all
the
means.
moderator?
What do we have in mind?
I was thinking, we just try our best not to cut each other off while talking. And one thing that I notice happens a lot in conversations is that I'll ask like a yes or no question, and then they'll answer yes, but then they'll go into like a monologue after, like why their question is yes. But the thing is, I just want to get to the yes or no first, and then you could extrapolate after. But when I try to cut them off after it's supposed to only be yes or no, but they start monologuing. If I cut them off, they say I'm the one being rude or
Well, this
cutting
is
in.
caveating. So are we saying
This
there are
is
no
a good
caveats to the
start.
conversation?
What do you mean by caveats?
I'm saying that
So if it's a yes, but, then it's not going to just be yes flat out. There's going to be some justification as to why it's a yes or a no. So
or some like
Well,
kind of cashing in the scope
'cause-
of the conversation.
well, naturally, I'm not going to just take the yes and then assume there's no explanation behind the yes or no question, right? Like in good faith, I'm going to say, okay, your answer is yes. Why do you think it's yes? Or I'm going to ask a follow-up question. So sometimes I'm going to go down a line of questioning where it's going to be like a series of yes, no's, right? And if you start extrapolating, especially if it's things that I've heard before, because I've done this debate a few times already.
Few times.
Then you don't need to over explain, because I know evolution pretty well.
Okay, do you agree to these terms, Bones?
Sure. We'll go
Sure.
for it.
All right.
Bones, like mind, if you ask me a question and I start answering in a different direction that isn't like I didn't hear exactly what you were asking, I start answering the wrong question, feel free to interrupt me also, and start over to make sure I understand your question, just to be
Sure.
good faith,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, sounds good. All right. Bones, since you're new, you go ahead, man.
All right, so I'm going to keep this nice, short, and pithy. So my debate opponent's going to have to figure out how to, one, defend the idea that evolution is unfalsifiable. I have the burden of proving that evolution is in fact true. So, like all scientific theories, they are basically cached in the idea that there's some hypothesis, and that given that hypothesis is true, it is able to explain certain things that occur in reality. And with evolution, it seems that that descent with genetic modification is true. We see organisms all throughout history slowly morphologically changing into what happens today. We see through the use of looking into endogenous retroviruses that we humans share common ancestors with organisms like chimpanzees and gorillas, et cetera, et cetera. We also see that we can also see whales kind of transitioning from being prior to the whales that we know today being land-dwelling mammals to the ocean-dwelling mammals that they are today as well. And finally, with the result of us seeing, I believe, viruses or whatnot being immune to antibiotics, that is also a form of evolution occurring in day-to-day life. We can find that in labs as well. And honestly, it is up to my debate opponent to, one, find the following issues with evolution. One, they need to find any instance where any hierarchical structures related to taxonomy are completely out of line. In particular, let's say we find like humans are actually somehow more in line with, say, like a fish over some other animal. Or another way that we could figure out that is whether all animals share like some equal percentage of DNA with each other. And pretty much that would just completely disprove evolution right there. And we would maybe have a common creator. I would even say that would be evidence for some other hypothesis. And then finally, I can also talk about how evolution satisfies the core criteria. Through observation, we can look at fossil record, comparative anatomy, genetics, biogeography. We can form hypotheses by predicting through common ancestry that we'd find certain animals fitting within the timeline in between now and then. Genetic drift, natural selection all fall into that as well. We can predict that through the finding of certain fossils or certain organisms or through genetics that we are related to certain other animals. We can test this by then finding said fossils or taking genetics or genomic sequences of animals and comparing them to other animals that we deem to be alike. And we can replicate this by having other labs do this as well. So I believe that satisfies all of the core criteria for a scientific theory and how it is able to kind of be in line with scientific processes, scientific method.
I'm hearing there's audio issues. One moment.
So on my end?
No, it's on
What's the
my
issue?
end, I'm hearing.
Oh,
Let me check Twitch.
were they able to hear Bones' opening statement?
Okay, now they can hear you. I don't know what happened, but okay.
Oh, were they not able to hear him before?
That's what they're saying.
Oh, okay,
Yikes.
okay.
You could go over
Okay,
it
it
again.
was,
am
it
I-
was
am I
just
good
part of, I guess it was part of the packet loss. So audio's good? Okay, audio's
Gotcha.
good.
All right.
Cool.
I can give the Sparks notes. Basically, evolution is absolutely falsifiable. We can falsify it by finding that certain animals are actually not in line genetically with what we believe them to be. For example, humans are not great apes, and they're like some type of fish. That would be one form of falsifying evolution. Another way of falsifying evolution would be all animals and organisms sharing some like equal percentage of relation to one another, showing a common designer potentially. I'm willing to grant that. It is up to KungFuJoe to first like concede that evolution is in fact falsifiable before this conversation starts, because otherwise we'd just be getting into nothing burgers effectively. And then as to the evidence of evolution specifically, we can go through like whales, for example, how they went from being land-dwelling mammals to ocean-dwelling mammals as we see today. Humans being descendants of great apes and being closely related to, say, a chimpanzee and gorilla, those two being some of our closest cousins. We can find that evolution is in line with the scientific method. Through observation, we look at fossils, fossil record, comparative anatomy. We see animals are kind of looking in line with each other. Let's form a hypothesis. Maybe they share a common ancestor. And then we can predict through transitional fossils or genetic similarities by doing genomic sequences or discovering fossils out in the wild that we can find that there's an actual timeline between animal A and animal B. And this can be replicated by sending samples to independent labs. One more thing. One way evolution can be falsified. Another one could just be, let's say, Precambrian rabbit being one. If we find a rabbit that somehow existed in the Precambrian era and we're able to verify that, then that would show that nested hierarchical patterns or common ancestry is false, which is one of the core tenets of evolution, is that we all share some common ancestor prior to us and that we all exist within nested hierarchies. And yeah, if we go into, say, like radiometric dating methods, we can go into the reliability of those too. So, yeah.
All right. And KungFuJoe, your opening statement.
Okay, I mean, well, I'm a little disappointed because I thought I would hear some kind of new challenge to my position tonight, but since we're not, I guess let's go with this. So basically, in my view, which is the Orthodox Christian view of creation according to their kinds, where God directly forms distinct stable categories of creatures, each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries, without one kind transforming into another. Now, given that I've done this debate a few times, I've decided to just go over some of maybe like the top 5 most common arguments that they're going to levy at my position that are very fallacious. And so I'm going to list them all in order that I kind of compiled from like 1 through 5. So basically what you'll hear tonight, one of the things you'll probably hear tonight is, which you probably heard in his opening, was the proponent will cite high DNA overlap, 98% between humans and chimps, as strong evidence of shared descent and evolutionary transformation. This unfortunately is a fallacy. This is like begging the question. It assumes similarities arises from descent with modification without proving the mechanism. So just saying that a thing happens doesn't explain the mechanism of how it got there. Number 2, the proponent will claim small-scale changes, e.g. antibiotic resistance, finch beaks, dog breeding, scale up to explain large-scale transformations. This is a composition fallacy. It assumes what is true of the small parts, changes, micro, must be true of the whole, macro transformations. Next down the list at number 3, we got the proponent will point to examples like Tiktaalik or Archaeopteryx as evidence of gradual change. This is this is a cherry-picking fallacy or a hasty generalization. Selects a few mosaics while ignoring the vast gaps and lack of continuous sequences predicted by gradualism. Down to the 4th one is the proponent will appeal to immense timescales and population sizes to argue improbable events become inevitable. This is begging the question again. Presumes mutations are sufficient and cumulative without evidence for the required coordinated information adding changes. And at last but not least, at number 5, the proponent will argue probably multiple independent lines converge on common descent, so the mechanism is inferred reliably. This is a confirmation bias, selects evidence that fits the conclusion while downplaying the anomalies. So with that, I guess he has to defend against my opening statement now, and I can't wait to hear it.
All right, Bones. Would you like to cross
All
that?
right, so what's your familiarity with radiometric dating? We'll go with that first.
Just like not a high level.
Okay, perfect. So I can kind of simplify it. Basically, there are isotopes for elements that over time will decay, and there's a predictable half life, meaning the time at which 50% of the parent material decays into some daughter material, and it's basically kind of shown in an equation n at some time t is equal to n naught, which is just the amount of parent material that exists. Then e, which is just the natural log. No, not the natural log. It's basically inverse of the natural log. Can't remember the name. Negative lambda t, lambda being some value for the decay rate of the material times t, the amount of time. And so we have, I can go off of uranium lead dating. So specifically uranium 238 to 206. It has a half life of about, I believe it's 4.5 billion
You
years.
don't have to explain this part. You can just get to why it's relevant.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of building it up for you. That way you kind of have some understanding to give you the absolute best chance of responding. But I believe uranium 238 decays into lead 206, has a half life of about 4.5 billion years, and we use that to date igneous rocks because zircon crystals will form with uranium. It will decay into lead. And
There's a
given
problem
that
with this already.
What's the problem?
Is that when you have an event like a volcano, that automatically resets the counter back to 0.
Okay, perfect. So do you understand that the range of uranium lead it's about on a short end 1 million years to 4.5 billion years. This would be the same thing as kind of measuring like the width of a hair with a ruler. It's not a reliable tool to, just like a ruler is not a reliable tool to measure a piece of hair. Uranium lead dating isn't going to measure something that just formed. We have better ways of going about it. Say with like St. Helens, that mountain, we can just have like photographic evidence of those rocks forming, or some video evidence of those rocks forming, and we can just say it formed probably right around then, and go from there. But we wouldn't use like uranium lead dating to date a rock that formed yesterday. It's just an
No,
improper measuring tool.
Yeah, but any like lava that comes up, that rock is going to be dated at like millions or billions of years old.
The zircon crystals would only be dated at a minimum of around 1 million years, and like I said, I already told you, it's like measuring measuring the width of hair with a ruler. So it's just an improper measuring tool.
But
Would you do? Would you measure hair with a ruler?
1 second, Joe.
Would you measure that width of hair with a ruler?
I think this is irrelevant because there are all kinds of problems.
I want an answer right here. Yes or no? Would you measure?
No, you wouldn't. No.
Okay, so you understand that there are improper measurement tools for certain tasks, right?
Okay.
Just like I wouldn't measure I wouldn't use like a ruler to measure, say, like the distance between the bottom of Mount Everest to the top. Like, it would be pretty impractical.
Okay.
So yeah, that critique of the measuring tools isn't just gonna follow.
Well, how does the measuring help your argument, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Because we can use radiometric dating to date certain fossils going far back enough, and to kind of closer timelines. We can use like carbon dating to verify like dendrochronology, or the study of tree rings, with other fossils, with other archaeological evidence as well.
Okay.
If we go there too.
And how does this support evolution?
So first, I'm just establishing the long timeline that it is possible. You'd have to give me a rebuttal against radiometric dating to say that long timelines is not possible.
I just don't understand how the dating helps your theory of evolution. Could you
you said earlier that a long timeline like just isn't possible, right?
I didn't say that.
Okay, what did you say regarding a timeline then, so that way I can better
I don't remember
critique here.
saying any. No, it's part of your worldview that it takes billions of years for evolution to happen. That's
So
what I
do you
use the
believe that the Earth
timeline
is
to
billions of
describe.
years old?
It doesn't matter what I believe. You're the one
No.
defending
I want
evolution.
you. I want to go off of that comment idea. Do you believe that the Earth is billions of years old?
I'm
'Cause I believe it is
agnostic. You
relevant.
could. I'm
You're
agnostic.
agnostic.
You can convince. Yeah, you could convince me whether or not it is.
So would you consider radiometric dating to be something that is like useful?
Probably. I don't know. What I want to know is how it's useful in proving your case for evolution to be true.
Oh, I'm just saying that it is the case that the Earth is billions of years old, so we do have a long timeline to work with evolution.
If you say so.
Okay, perfect, great. That's all I need for that. And then the second idea, you said that it was a composition fallacy to say that small changes over
Oh,
time
do you want me to
build
go
up into
over
a
them
large
one at
change.
a? Do you want to address each
No,
one?
I want you to just say yes or no here. You're saying that it is the composition fallacy to say that just because there is a small change occurring in one instance and that we can chain those together, that we can show a big change over time. Is that
Yeah,
the fallacy?
yeah. Saying a fly, changes something about it, but it's still a fly. Therefore, in the past, it wasn't a fly. That's the fallacy.
You sure that's what a composition fallacy is? So what I
No,
just described was a hypothetical syllogism. So something going from A to B and not necessarily following, and then something from going from B to C necessarily following. It would just be the case that we can go from A to C from there. That's just a hypothetical syllogism. So that's not
yeah,
fallacious at all.
it is a composition fallacy. Yeah.
No. So you're saying a hypothetical syllogism is a composition fallacy?
Well, you're ignoring the alternate explanations.
So no, it just necessarily follows. It's a valid inference rule.
No, in my
All right,
in
so you're
my
saying that
opening
hypothetical
statement,
syllogisms are not valid inference rules?
it
Are we going
doesn't
to get that
it
on
doesn't
camera?
no, it doesn't disagree with my opening statement on what I believe a kind is under Christianity. So I'll read it again for you. According to the Orthodox Christian view of creation according to their kinds, where God directly forms distinct, stable categories of creatures, each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries, without one kind transforming into another. So to say that a fly, we could see a fly, a fruit fly or whatever, change some characteristic about it, but it's still a fly. Therefore, in the past, it wasn't a fly. That's
So
like
that's
a
just a
composition
category error. I don't
fallacy.
believe in kinds. I don't believe in the concept of kinds.
You're well,
Taxonomy doesn't take into account kinds. So
no. Hold on.
unfortunately,
Stop.
that's
Stop.
just not in the
You
scope here.
misunderstood my point. You
And
misunderstood
once
my
again,
point there.
you still haven't addressed the hypothetical
Hold on.
syllogism not being a valid
Hold on.
inference rule. Can we
I gotta
get that
I gotta
straight?
correct you. I got a
Because
point of correction here.
because that's another crucial
I have to correct you.
error on your end of the evolution argument.
Yeah,
Well,
Because I'm not
correct-
saying that because A to
You
B
didn't
there is
actually
A
hear
to
what I
C.
said.
I'm saying that A to
Well-
B and B to C makes A to C,
So,
which is a
Joe,
valid inference.
address the hypothetical syllogism.
Hold on. I just gave him I read my thing to him to prove that the genetic similarity is under my view also. So I want to tell, like, we have two competing hypotheses here, right? His is evolution, where natural selection and random mutation, it means that we share common ancestry. My position is that our genetic similarity are just the building blocks that God used to make everything, every kind and humans. So these things, just saying genetic similarity isn't enough, because I'm there also. There's just, my explanation is God and his is evolution. So how does he break? Where's the symmetry breaker?
Okay, gotcha. I got this. So the symmetry breaker is that evolution can predict basically new basically paths between a previous organism and a current one. And I don't believe a creationist has a good way of establishing that without just invoking microevolution. Is what he put it.
I did. It's in my statement. I said, uh, where God directly forms distinct, stable categories of creature with each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries. That's what I said. That's
Yeah, can you give me
microevolution.
can you give me a hypothetical experiment for creationism?
What do you mean?
Yeah, can you provide me some experimental methodology that would verify creationism?
You can't verify God through science,
Okay,
sir.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take that concession then.
No,
So
no, but
I can
that's not a
can
concession
provide
because
yeah,
that's
absolutely, because I can
a
do the same for
category
I can do
error. That's a
evolution. I can do
category
it.
error.
No, I can do that for evolution now. You want to hear it?
You can make a divine.
I can make
You
an
have a different
experiment using
God, a
evolution.
different God created evolution.
Oh no, I don't need God for this. I just need
You don't
evolution
need
to be
God.
true here. Yeah, so I just need
How?
to.
Well,
So
I
let's take
go ahead
this.
and demonstrate.
So let's go
Yeah.
with
Go ahead.
modern whales. So modern whales, they have kind of vestigial structures that indicated that they might have had legs at some point, and from that, we can see, combined with the fact that they kind of behave a little bit differently from fish, that hey, this is kind of weird. They use milk to feed their babies. Fish don't really do this. Why is that? And so the hypothesis is that whales evolved from living land animals at the time, millions of years ago. And the way to verify this is that we would see, in some sort of timeline here, that we go from a land dwelling animal that kind of maybe lived near the ocean and see that it lost its legs over time and became more of an ocean dweller. So we have Amblicitus being the previous, I think, direct predecessor of whales, and then before then, Pachycetus being the animal before it. The Pachycetus being a land-dwelling mammal that lived near the ocean, and then an Amblicitus that was effectively a walking whale in this case. And then we get to the whale, and seeing that we have I believe, fossil records of this, then it just follows there that the ancestor for whales happens to be some land dwelling animal.
Pachycetus are so awesome. Don't you wish you could own one, Leith? I see Pachycetus. I'm like, that thing is fucking cool. I want one, bro. Must be great at hunting shrimps. So I wrote this in my notes. This is going to be another begging the question.
Yeah. So how
fallacy.
does that not follow the scientific method?
Well, you haven't put it through the scientific method. I was about to ask you to do that next.
No,
but
that
basically what I heard
method.
from you, dude, I just let you talk.
So
what?
So
That's
one
crazy.
second. So 1 second, I gave you an observation. I gave some sort of hypothesis. I could also talk about the preceding research that would be needed, the background knowledge to maybe go into this. I gave you.
Give me the hypothesis again.
So that the hypothesis is that whales evolved from land living mammals.
Why? How did you know that? How did you guess that? You look at a whale, and then what? What? You observe a whale.
So the observation would be that there are vestigial structures that existed in whales that indicated that they could have been from land dwelling mammals at some point, indicating that some previous ancestor had some legs, basically.
Okay, and what's your proof that that assumption is true?
What assumption? What are you saying I'm assuming here?
You're saying that we look at whales and they have something about their structure arbitrarily leads me to believe that they might have come from a land dwelling animal.
It's not arbitrary. It seems that the structures they resemble hips, and that it's a high likelihood that it is the case that they were able to walk on land at some point.
Okay, so I don't think that. What is your proof
there's
that's
other
going
structures too.
What's so?
So they're flippers. They have little fingers inside of them too, which indicates that it also could have been a part of some sort of structure resembling something that is distinct from fish, but is a little less distinct from other mammals.
And that gets you to a Pachycetus.
Yes, because over time we see Pachycetus and then Amblicitus and then whale.
Okay.
Yeah, because it would be the case that we would find organisms that look somewhat similar to a whale that lived millions of years prior to whales, and that they had similar structures to what whales have today, but something a little bit different to fit that environment. And then prior to that, they had different structures that fit that previous environment, which goes into my next point about evolution and mechanisms. So the mechanism being genetic modification through mutations, and then the selection bias would just be through the environment. Whichever organism is best fit for the environment has a higher likelihood of reproducing, and then those genes tend to reproduce.
But do you start with the assumption of common ancestry, or does that what you just said get us there?
So the hypothesis, going back to the whale example, is that whales came from land-living animals. So no, we wouldn't be just assuming that that's the case.
I'm still not seeing how we get there though. So how
So
about this?
you don't assume that the hypothesis is true. You assume that it's false, and then you try to, or
Well,
rather, you
so
try to prove it false.
there's a problem here.
And a failure to prove it false means that it isn't.
Well, hold on. How about we take it through the scientific method?
Yeah, sure. I already
Step
gave
by
you
step.
the
So
breakdown
what's
here.
let's go. Let me just ask one by one. What's the observation?
So the observation is that whales look and behave weird compared to fish.
Evolution overall. Not you don't have to mean.
I know. I just want to
specifically
give like a
whales or-
specific example. That way, we're kind of like nailing in on this because
Okay.
as it compares to because it just relates to evolution that way.
So you see a whale in nature, right?
Yeah, you see a whale in nature, you're like, huh, it doesn't act like a fish. It has mammary glands. It feeds their babies milk. They have like kind of like bone. You can see that they have bone structures in their fins. Rather, they need air to breathe as opposed to getting the oxygen through gills. That's just weird.
Okay. So this doesn't like go against the Christian view yet. So I'm still waiting.
No, you just told me to use the scientific method, so we're.
Oh, I'm
we're at
sorry.
step
Okay,
one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. So that's the observation is you.
We're at the observation. Yes.
You observe whales to be different than fish, not quite sharks. They seem to be their own thing, right?
Yes, they seem to be pretty
Okay.
distinct.
Okay, and
so
then what?
And the research, you kind of just go through it. You're like, huh, like there are all these
Research,
sorts of
hold on.
behaviors that, you do kind of background knowledge to kind of ensure that you are kind of establishing a base of facts before you build upon that knowledge. You agree that that's part of the scientific method?
Well, don't you know you observe something and then you ask a question, right?
Yeah. So why do you? Okay, sure. I'll go with the question. So why do whales not look like? Why do they not behave like? Why do they seem like they are distinct from fish?
Okay. And then what's the research like? You do
So the research being so whales need air to breathe. Like I kind of went over this with the observations a little bit. They kind of go hand in hand sometimes. But feeding their babies milk, they have different behavioral patterns.
Okay.
You could
And
go
then
even further and say that they have much larger brains than a typical fish, and it seems more complex. Like you can go through all that stuff.
Okay, the hypothesis.
Depending on what your scope of the research is. But the hypothesis being whales evolved from land dwelling mammals.
Oh, how did so? But it's in the
So
water.
do you
How
understand
did
what
you
a
get there?
hypothesis is?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what a hypothesis is?
It's supposed to be your best educated guess for how the thing is in its current state.
So a hypothesis is a claim, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So
But
you
it's
don't
supposed
really have
to be
anything-
in the form of an explanation, isn't it?
I mean, it could just be like an if-then statement. It's not like strict. It could just be as simple as a claim.
I think you're already slipping here. You do have to
how
provide an
so?
explanation. Well, how do you get?
Yeah, that's the
There's no-
explanation. They look and behave different from fish because they evolved from something that wasn't a fish.
Okay, so what experiment would you conduct in order to prove that?
So let's go back to the hip bones and stuff. So if it's the case that whales evolved from land living animals, there would be structures that are existing in the land animals that would over time kind of lose their function or change function such that it better suits an aquatic environment. And the experiment
But
would be, can we find organisms that fit that timeline?
well, hold on there. What if the whale was just created that way?
Yeah, what would be the indicators for it?
Well, that hold on. That's you have to.
No,
that's
no.
that's the onus is
What
on
would
you
be? I'm
for
asking you.
to prove that there's no
Wait,
other
you just made
explanation.
you just made a claim. What if they came from something else? Like you're asking the question here. What are the indicators that whales would be like just spontaneously created? Can you give me your best guess?
No, I'm saying not. I didn't say spontaneously. I didn't say there would be an explanation. I'm saying that what if there's another explanation? You're
Yeah,
making
then
that.
there would be some way to like differentiate it from say evolution. Do you have any criteria for it? Because I laid out some in my opening.
Yeah, supernatural.
Yeah, and how do we test this supernatural?
Supernatural is beyond the physical realm. So,
So
the
it's
science
self-defeating.
wouldn't be able
Okay.
to test. No, it's not self-defeating.
Yeah,
You
no,
can't
absolutely.
just prove
If it can't be tested, if it can't be tested naturally, and science is advanced through this concept of naturalism that everything kind of just occurs like not like out in nature, effectively. Yeah, if there's some occurrence that's outside of the scope of nature, then we cannot observe it. We cannot fact check it. We cannot provide any conclusions from it. It's just self defeating.
It's not
But
because you're
but
using
luckily,
you're
I
you're
actually did
using
give
things you can't you're using things you cannot prove to be real just to make that statement.
but luckily I did give criteria, by the way, that would potentially be evidence of a creator. We could say that let's say whales are about as equally related to fish as like some other animal, or that the animal that preceded whales is about as equally as related to fish as fish are to something else. That would be one way. Another way would just be whales are actually not descendant of land-dwelling animals, and that they're actually descendant of, let's just say, fish. Actually, for this example, that they somehow
Why do they need
diverted
to
from
be
fish,
descendants
despite
of
having.
anything?
Well, that's just what evolution
That's your
claims is that
worldview.
there's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's your claim. So you got to
yeah,
prove
and so
that. I don't.
if wait, hold on. This is where you don't understand here. If the whale is not under like the hierarchy of some like mammals, but of something else, then it seems like evolution made a false prediction here, right?
What do you mean? Oh,
So
what? There's no.
earlier my hypothesis was whales evolved from land living mammals. If it's not the case that they evolved from land living mammals, then yeah, that just falsifies evolution right there.
How would you prove that? How would you disprove that?
How would I disprove that?
How would you falsify that?
How would I falsify that? So let's
Yeah.
say that we find something that looks to be let's say in this case, we're saying that whales are kind of closely resembling to fish as some way to falsify it. Then we would see that going previous like years, we would see that the ancestors of whales are actually fish somehow, or
But we
that
all share common ancestry.
or that there are no other organisms that have like similar structures to whales, and that we can't find anything prior to that. That would also be another way that we would falsify that, because it seems like whales are kind of like the first thing that came
No,
out,
because
which would be evidence of creation, by the way.
prove it. Just finding a similar structured creature doesn't prove that it came from that creature.
Oh yeah, on its own, it's probably like a little bit of evidence, but that's where we get into radiometric dating, because then we could verify that.
Tell me how it happened. How
You
about
already
that?
granted. You already granted radiometric dating, by the way, and so through that, we could take a similar like rock formations from that time period, and we could verify the timeline that way. And you've already granted radiometric dating, so this just follows.
So
It would just be
similarity
evidence.
plus the age equals it evolved into that thing. How does
Yeah,
can you
because evolution
explain
takes
how that
evolution
happened?
takes long amounts of time to occur when your gestation period is fairly large.
Time doesn't change anything.
Yes, it does. It's why we
No, it
can.
doesn't.
Yeah. So it's why we can get
It doesn't.
It's why we can get viruses that are resistant to antibiotics.
No, time doesn't change anything. When you take milk out of your fridge and you leave it on the counter, does time make it spoil?
Time is just like a change. It would just occur with like a change in state. So, like bacteria cultures can form over time and spoil the milk.
But
Just like
that's
over,
what's spoiling the milk, not the time.
just like, yeah, and
Time doesn't cause anything.
Time is just like a passage. It's
right.
just like a change
It's
in
not
states.
causal.
Basically.
It doesn't
Or it's
cause
how we.
anything.
It is how we understand some change in states, or temporal change in states, rather. But it seems to be the case that.
I'm asking you defend evolution. You're doing a very poor job of it. I'm asking you.
I mean, you can say that, but so far you haven't really like contested with the whales. By the way, okay, sure.
I'm asking you to explain to me how mechanistically does a Pachycetus go to a whale? Give me the mechanistic.
Also,
process.
sorry, bacteria, not viruses. That got my gums mixed up. It's bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. Yeah, so. Yeah, so you said
give me the mechanistically give me the step-by-step process of mechanisms that take place that go from a Pachycetus going to a whale. Because what you're just saying far is this bones, we find these bones and they look similar to this living thing here, therefore it came from this thing. I'm asking you, how did that change occur? Because
I'm saying that it's evidence of evolution.
Hold on, I'm almost landing the plane here. The time doesn't actually cause anything. So what I'm asking for is the cause. Just like with the milk example, it's the bacteria that makes the milk go spoiled. So I want you to tell me in evolution, what's the bacteria here that is the cause of the evolution? Go ahead.
So it's kind of a category error to say that I believe that time is causing things. No, that's not the case. Time just refers to when I'm saying that over time something happens, I'm just saying that over some like number of temporal state changes, A goes to B. And from this, okay, cool. So going from there, we can go through like genetics per se. There are mutations in the genetic code that occurs through each subsequent generation, and those eventually produce some type of change. That change can either be beneficial, neutral, or negative, depending on the environment.
How does it?
So, for example, we can stick on whales for a second. Legs, like what we would have, they're not really all that useful for they're not all that useful for propelling in water, but fins, which have a large surface area and can more effectively push the water better than legs or arms can.
Start with the Pachycetus and take us to a whale.
That's what I'm talking about right now. I'm giving you the mechanism right now. But so anyways, fins more effective at propulsion through water than legs. Legs are more effective at propulsion on land than fins are. So Pachycetus, they have legs, but sometimes they're kind of going out into the water to get their food. And then over time, it seems to be the case that some members of the Pachycetus are developing more fin-like structures, and they're more effectively.
How?
I just told you. Can you repeat back to what I said about mutations? Mutations in the genetic code. So, I mean, we could talk about like insertion, deletion, like there's all sorts of things that just effectively, like all we need to know is that mutation is just some change in the genetic code that occurs from generation to generation. Would you grant that?
You're just saying it. You're saying it happens. I'm asking you how it happens.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the same reason how like I kind of look different from you. You look different from what's her name? Lemmy Kai? Something like that.
Lethal Water Kai. Yeah.
Lethal Water Kai. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I did not know his name prior to this. So, but yeah, cool. Lethal Water Kai. It's like we all look different because to some degree genetic mutations occurred.
I think I'm a completely different species from Leith, just so we're clear.
Yeah, what's going to be the evidence for that? Let's do real.
Okay. Anyway, no, I'm sorry. No, but you're just pointing out differences. I'm asking, okay, the mutations occur.
Yeah, mutations accumulate over time.
Take me through that mechanistically. One day, they're happy hunting shrimps. They've been doing it the same way for millions of years. but suddenly something happens because the environment whispers to the DNA of the creature and say, "Hey, man, things are about to change and get bad for you. You better, do
That
something
would
about it."
be
And the genetic code goes, "Suit up, lads. We gotta create some kind of adaptation to help us survive," right?
so. What you're
Or I don't
describing
know,
right
like
now is Lamarckian evolution. I don't subscribe to Lamarckian evolution. It's false.
Okay.
It's not the
So give me
it's not the
yours.
case. What actually
Yeah.
does happen is that just when DNA is being replicated, whether in the animal itself or when reproduction occurs, when two parents kind of create their child, they mix their DNA into the child. And as the DNA is getting replicated, sometimes there are quote unquote errors or just changes to the genetic code, whether that be
Errors.
insertion, deletion, like some type of displacement. And over time, given
Hold
enough
on, wait.
mutations,
Error. Can I get a clarification? Forgive me if I stop you because it's a complicated explanation, right? I need clarification sometimes. So when you say error, you're saying
I just say I just mean like
advantageous
deviations from the like
hold on,
parent
let me
code to the
yeah.
like daughter code, basically.
So the advantageous mutation is due to an error.
I didn't say that they were necessarily advantageous. I can continue down my explanation, and that might help
I
you
just
a
want
little
to know
bit.
what the error. Can you just clarify error
So,
for me? What's an
okay,
error?
error. I just mean it's just like some change from the original code to the daughter code, basically.
Well, that would hold on. To say error would necessitate that there's a correct way of doing
Yeah,
things.
yeah. So error is a little bit of a misnomer. Then it's just like some change in the genetic code. Like it's not
Okay, so
like error would just be with respect to the parent code, basically. Is what I'm saying. It is some like X change between the parent code and the sorry, hold on. Trying to get the parent code and the like daughter code. So let's say like it's instead of like ACCG, it's ACGG instead. That would be considered a quote unquote error in this case because it is different from the parent code.
so okay, so random mutations occur to an error, something going wrong.
If you want to put it like that, it doesn't really matter. All it
Hmm.
just all it necessitates is that there's some change from the parent code to the daughter
Well,
code.
the so it's like a mistake, basically.
A mistake would imply like some sort of like teleology, and I don't believe that mutations on their own carry some teleology.
So it's an error. Okay, so
If
it's
you
like
want to, if you want to
something,
believe it's an error to like make it your understanding a little bit better, sure. At its base, it's just some change in the genetic code.
but it's an error.
I just say error is a kind
Yeah.
of like way to differentiate the parent code and the daughter code.
So
That's
your
all that it means
like
to me.
your brain developed due to a series of errors, right?
A series of mutations and changes.
Which are errors.
You're just gonna make the claim that errors are like
Well,
necessarily
you said
bad.
it.
I don't
You said
subscribe to that. If you want me to finish my
it's your
explanation,
language.
it'll all come together in a moment. We're like mid explanation. You're like
But
kind
hold
of
on,
you're kind of like really
going by your.
you're like really
I'm
focusing.
engaging
No, no, no.
with your
Hold on.
worldview.
Hold
I'm
on.
engaging with
Focusing
your.
on
Let's take
so
a second, reset. So, do you still need clarification on anything in particular,
Yes.
Joe?
Yeah,
What do you need
I
a
absolutely
clarification
need.
on so that he can finish
I need
his...
error. So I just want to take down this line of questioning here. So you believe
so
your
I'm
brain is a
gonna say this
product
for
of a
the
series of errors?
so I'm gonna say this for the third time. When I say error, I
It's a
just
yes
mean
or
some
no.
change. So
Well, you're
again,
essentially
you said you wanted
cross-referencing.
error to be clarified. You said you wanted error to be clarified, right?
No. You decided
So
you were
you
going to
said you
leave
wanted
error
error to be
as the word.
clarified, yes or
No,
no?
I don't. I know what error
No.
means.
Oh, okay. So then we can move on then.
No, I
Do
just
you know
want to,
what? Do you know
for
what I
clarity,
mean
I
by
just
error?
want to
Though?
know.
Well, there's a
Hmm?
difference between clarification and cross-examination. We're not in cross of what he's saying, so until he finishes his complete statement, there's no real cross of it. You can get a
I'm
clarification.
cross-examining the statement itself because there's already
You're
errors in
cross-examining my
my.
usage of error. That's like really
Yeah,
strange.
I am. No,
Okay.
I need to make sure
Okay.
that
Yeah. Perfect. So
we're engaging on the same
wait. So then
language
that's
here.
clarification. That's not cross-examination.
Sure,
I think you got
clarify.
your
Well,
terms
I'm
mixed up.
cross-examining your use of error. So,
Yeah.
can you
How do you
make
prove that my usage of error is false here? I'm like so curious.
Give me.
If you want to get into like the Philbro shit, go for it.
No, dude. I'm saying no. It's not
Okay,
I
cool.
just want to make sure
Then
we're operating
yeah,
on like I could pull up a definition of the word error and we can go off of that. You're the one invoking that word, so
or I could
I'll
just tell you my usage of it and we'd go from
let's
there.
see. That would be
Yeah,
incorrect.
sure.
That would be
You're
incorrect.
s-
I'm going to go off the
wait, so you're saying
dictionary
you're saying the
definition.
definitions are they have like carry propositions? That's really strange.
Well, I believe in propositions being true. That doesn't work.
No,
in
no, no.
your
Oh,
world,
that's
though.
a totally different claim. You said that
Sure.
some certain definition was true. How do you parse
Here
that
we
out?
go. Error, an error, a deviation from accuracy,
He's not going to answer.
correctness, or a intended result in actions,
Correct.
judgment, or
Gotcha.
computational processes, often representing a mistake or flaw in a system. It signifies a departure from truth or wrongdoing, blah, blah, blah. So error. You want me to ask what it means in the evolutionary sense?
So first off, you have to defend the claim now that definitions are somehow they carry propositions. What's going to be the argument for that? I'm so curious. We can have this little sidebar real quick. So
no,
what's
there's
the
no
argument
sidebar
for
here. You're going to
definitions
defend
being...
evolution.
Oh,
I'm not going to let you.
So
No. That's what's the
you're
debate
not
again?
do it. That's fine.
What's the debate again? Yeah, what's the debate? You're defending evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. You just believe that definitions are propositional, and I cannot agree with that. I'm so sorry.
Here, let's go with what error means in the evolutionary.
No. I already told you what error means.
Are you an evolutionary theorist?
You said you wanted clarification.
No, I don't care about your arbitrary definition of
lethal
error.
water guy. Hold on. I thought he said at the beginning of this exchange that he wanted clarification, but now it seems like he's cross-examining me on the definition of error.
Well, that's exactly what I was trying to get away from. So if we want to do this, we can do this, but I'd rather stick to the prompt.
What a cross-examine... Wait, hold on. I want to appeal to the moderator. Would a cross-examination of the usage of a word imply that there is some correct, like stance independent correct usage of the word?
That would be the case.
Okay, cool, great. So, yeah.
Do you want to just concede? Do you want to just concede evolution and switch over to a different topic? Yeah, you
no, absolutely not.
Because I'm just granting you. I'm just granting you that you're giving me.
You wanted to hold like the really like negative, like teleological definition of error. I just take error in this case to mean a deviation from the parent genetic code to the daughter genetic code. So if that's all the clarification that you need, we're going to go based off of that instead of whatever random definition you want to use.
So you're just using your own definition of error.
I'm telling you my usage of it in this case.
You know what? If you could pull up that definition of error and show it to me, I'm
just telling you my usage of error in this case.
I don't want to let you use it.
I prefaced it with air quotes in the beginning, by the way, because I knew this was going to happen. So the fact
Sorry.
that you're really hung over on this just shows that you might not be able to.
You could either let it. It's either an error or it's not. It's one or the other.
It is an error based off of my usage of the word error, which just means a deviation from the parent genetic code to the daughter genetic code.
Nobody cares about your subjective definition.
Yeah, definitions are just subjective. They're all subject to like human. Ooh. It is dependent on how we describe words. Yeah.
You came here so confident, dude, and your argument is definitions are subjective?
Yes, definitions are subjective to the context in which we're using them and like who's kind of writing up the definition at some point. Yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah, and I mean, until you can give me a stance independent correct definition of error,
so
you're
then
we're kind of in the same position.
No,
here, so
I'm using. I gave you the dictionary definition. Look, I gave you the
dictionaries are written by people with minds, so it's stance dependent.
No,
the fact that there are multiple the fact that there are multiple usages of the word error shows that it's stance dependent.
I'm not going to have a debate about evolution and allow you to have subjective definitions of language, sir.
Yeah, I take subjective to just mean mind dependent. Do you have like some other definition?
Yeah, no, okay. I could roll you on this topic, but that's not what the
I really want to go back to evolution though. So
okay, I wish you would, but right here. Okay, so let's use the correct definition of words.
Want to go back?
No,
what
I
do you
am
mean
going
the
back.
right
I'm
definition
not
of
gonna
words?
let you use your subjective definition.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
I want to move back
So,
to evolution
In,
here.
in this case, to move
Leaf.
forward with the conversation, are we going to use the proprietary definition of what error is in clarification?
I can just change error to be a deviation from the parent genetic material to the daughter genetic material.
That's an
And it's
error.
complete. That
Deviation.
is not.
Yeah.
That is
what is the
just-
definition
sure.
of deviation?
That is how I'm using the word error to be in this case. We can just go from there. That is how I'm using it.
Do you
in
accept
this
that,
case.
Joe? Do you not accept that?
It's still an error.
I didn't think
to
we'd
say
get hung up on.
deviation.
Error just implies like a teleology. I'm so sorry.
Deviation is the action of departing from an established course, standard, or norm. So if you want to use
Established
deviation,
being
that's
the
worse for
parents-
your
Established
position.
being the parent genetic material. Yeah.
That was put there by God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you presuppose. So
yeah.
anyways.
So look, departing from
So
a, what,
anyways,
an intended,
let's go.
a correct
Let's
correct path.
So let's go back. Let's go back to
To an
evolution.
incorrect path?
I can't believe that we had to like spend this amount of time to like cook you on definitions. here,
on
but
your
let's get
subjective
back to this.
definition, sir.
Yes, until you
Yeah.
can give me a stance independent correct definition of error,
I
then
mean, that's
like,
a
yeah, this is
different.
just
That's a
non-starter.
different topic, and I thought you wanted to debate evolution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why
I'm
I
not
want to
going
go
to
back to
grant you.
evolution.
Okay, so do you?
Yeah. So anyways, just a change in genetic material from the parent to
I'm
the
not letting you
daughter.
use that. Nope.
See,
Nope,
see, we
sorry.
can't. I'm so sorry. Yeah, we can't
Nope.
move on because you're just so hung up
You're
on this
rage
word.
quitting the
So,
debate. You're so.
how am I
the
rage
debate's
quitting
over.
the
I'm
debate when
already.
you're the
I'm
one
already. You're
railroading?
conceding the
Hold on.
debate. You're conceding
So you're the one who
debate by.
stood in front of the train tracks and told me to stop, but you're telling me I'm rage quitting the debate because I won't run.
You don't
want to
use language like objective definitions of language that we all agree
Oh my
to.
god, this is like.
You don't want to use English, basically.
I
you're
thought this
you're
was an
refusing the
evolution
English
debate. I didn't
language.
know I was gonna have to like debate some like retarded.
Yeah, in English,
argument
not
on
your fucking, not
objective
Bones
definitions.
language.
Yeah, I didn't
I'm
know
not
that
gonna use your
objective
subjective
definitions
definition.
that they exist. Yeah, so like, what's how do we know that the stance independent correct version of error is what you just wrote?
So you're conceding the debate.
And he won't answer this. He's
You're
not
conceding the
this.
debate. This is a,
So
this is not
KungFuJoe
evolution.
won't answer this question because that's like
This
the
was- this
entire
is
point
not
of the
evolution,
critique.
We
sir.
need an answer to this question so we can move forward on evolution. So we
Leaf,
can't move
Apparently,
forward.
Hold on,
without-
no,
apparently. Apparently, yeah, because so
I'm not.
weird,
We
so-
can't. Hold on. We can't. We have to have
This is so
agreed
weird.
upon definitions of language. Otherwise, we're not even. We can't even
So
communicate.
do you
here.
accept my usage of the
No.
change in genetic material? No, you don't.
That's,
Okay,
that's
so
not the definition of error in any way,
so
shape,
when
or
we
form.
so anyway,
Well,
I'm
he's
just gonna-
retracted
I'm
the
just
word
gonna move.
error. He's retracted the
and
word
what are
error.
you using now?
Yeah, because you're so hung up on
Deviation?
error. I just
You want to use deviation?
a change in genetic material from the parent to the daughter in this case. That is what a mutation is.
Okay, it's just a change.
And it's just done
What's it
because
caused
of
by?
some. It is caused by either some type of insertion of some like gene pair, or rather, sorry, DNA pair. In this case, a deletion of some certain DNA pair, or like a transposition of
Why?
a DNA pair from one part of the or why?
Why does that
just
happen?
is.
It just happens.
Yeah, it just happens. Yeah,
So evolution just happens.
mutation happens. Yes.
So evolution just happens.
Evolution is one part mutation, one part natural selection.
It's a yes or no. Does evolution just happen?
Yes, absolutely. It does just happen. And it is one component mutation, one component natural selection.
But it
I mean,
just
you can
magically
be
happens.
dumbfounded all you want. I've had to
So
explain to you.
so you're
like, mutation.
positing
I've had to explain to
magic
you
with no
the scientific
magician.
method. I've had to explain to you now also what else here? Radiometric dating.
Bro,
like
you're getting
we've,
tripped
like,
up on
I'm
step
setting
4
up.
of the scientific method. You can't even get past step 4. are you talking
I'm
about?
pretty sure you're the one who railroaded me on the word error earlier. So
Yeah, because you're using an incorrect version of error.
You're the
yeah.
one who stopped the conversation on evolution.
Dude, you
to have
just
this.
said that evolution just happens.
So you do grant that you stopped the conversation to have this tangent.
No, I
Got it.
didn't.
Okay.
I'm
So
asking you, how did the
I'm gonna go
mutation
back to
happen?
evolution,
And you said it just
KungFuJoe is gonna go on
happened.
his
He's
tangent.
explaining
For the audience,
how
I'm
this
going to
happened.
finish this scientific method here. So mutation,
Bro.
you see a change in genetic material from the parent to the daughter. This just occurs either through insertion,
just
deletion,
occurs!
transposition. I mean, do you want me to like get into like the nitty gritty about how like
Yes,
replication occurs?
that's what you're supposed to defend. How does the mutation occur? And you said it just occurs.
So I told you either through the insertion of DNA, the deletion of DNA, or the transposition of some certain DNA strands. Yes.
How does that happen?
You'd have to like at some point we're gonna have to get like a geneticist to like go into the absolute like nitty gritty on how like genetic replication.
So you
occurs.
believe in something you don't even understand.
I do not understand it on the level of a PhD. You're right.
So it's
or
dogma.
of an undergrad in biology. Yeah.
So I'm no more dogmatic.
I
than
do not.
you.
I do not have a degree in biology. That is correct. I can only tell you what I do know to my best extent.
Well, I'm not a priest.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, and I'm still my theory still holds. Like everything,
You have not demonstrated the falsification. You demonstrated that creationism isn't falsifiable, which is very funny because earlier you said evolution wasn't falsifiable, but you told me that you cannot experiment on creationism. So until you can give me an experiment that proves creationism, then you can just no. Hold on, we're not even done with my experiment here either. If you want to give yours after, we're more than happy to do that. But again, so through mutations, we have changes in genetic material, and from there, let's going back to the mammal example or the whale example. Some mutations would better favor, say, locomotive motion on land. Some would favor motion in the water, and over time, we see that animals that these mammals that favored locomotion in the water survived in that environment more often, and so the increased dependence on being in that water environment to get either shelter, food, or otherwise led us to go from, let's say, the Pachycetus to the Amblycetus to the whale in this case. And we would see the degradation of the land-dwelling structures in favor of the aquatic structures.
I have a question. Are species a scientific fact?
What do you mean by that?
Do your best.
No, I want you to clarify.
I can't. Are species, the category species, regarded as a fact in the scientific community? In the theory of evolution?
There's like a definitive boundary between one species and another?
The question is very simple, yes or no. Do your best on it.
I'm trying to clarify for you.
A scientific fact?
Are you saying that species meaning a definitive boundary between like one organism as opposed to another organism?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that there's like a very sharp line between one species and another. Especially when we're talking about like modern taxonomy, there are some animals that you could argue one way or another are either the same species or two different species. Again, that's like a very like high level like conversation about effectively like the philosophy of like what a certain species is. But going away from the species, we can verify that like families exist and they have like pretty distinct categories. We can go up all the way up to like phylum, kingdom, et cetera, and we would have pretty nice clean categories there. But species is where everything gets a little fuzzy, and that's just because of the resolution of that.
So what's the answer to
if you're talking about like rigid structures between like one organism and another, I would probably say no. But if we're talking about, say, like there's like some like genetic cluster of organisms that fits this moniker versus another genetic cluster of organisms fitting this other moniker, then yes. It just depends on your definition of species here.
How can you have a scientific theory based on species if species are not a scientific fact?
No, we're basing it in part on like the taxonomic structure. So species is just like the like minute details. It's like saying that we can't know the like true length or the true width of a hair because we don't have the exact measurement of that hair. We just have like an approximation based off of the best available tools.
So
Like it's like saying that you can't use like a dial caliper is not going to give you like the most exact like width of the hair, but it'll get you pretty close.
Okay.
I mean, you can be like all this, you just be ignorant of it. It's fine.
it's not. It's just not.
It's not a
adding
really,
up.
it's not effective to like just be like, oh my God, this guy is like so crazy because I have a like good understanding of the source
Okay.
material here.
I hope you have a good understanding because I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah,
I
and it
guess.
seems like you get really worked up on this. Yeah, you would agree that using a dial caliper to measure the width of a hair is probably going to be a good enough tool for what we're using it for. That might not even be true. You could probably find something that has like a
Okay.
smaller resolution to better fit that. Like you've already granted that it's a bad tool to use like a ruler to measure the width of a hair, just like saying that like species gets like really into the granular at the moment, and that's probably the best that we have to kind of distinguish between one animal and another,
but
or
not
one
a
plant and
scientific
another.
fact.
Well, let me ask
Right.
this question.
Well,
Maybe this
you
can...
still haven't defined what a scientific fact is. I gave you kind of two different concepts of what a species is.
Let's see if we can agree here. A group of living organisms consisting of similar individuals capable of exchanging genes or interbreeding. So once they are no longer in that category, they cease to be a species.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That is probably fine for this discussion. Absolutely.
Okay, so is that is that a fact in science?
It is just the definition of of what species is in this case. It can be used by scientists. Sometimes they'll use like certain other definitions depending on what they're going for. But for layman people like us, it is probably like effective enough.
But the thing is, it can't be the case that whatever life form you're referencing is one thing because it's always in flux. So it's not ever. It's not
just how we define the species in this case. We define the species based off of shared genetic clusters.
Okay.
I have another question. Does evolution take place?
Are you normally like this, like just like we like effed off? Sorry, I don't know if we can curse here. Are you normally like this, like effed off on this?
Curse until your heart's
all right, cool. So yeah, are you normally
Yeah,
like
you could
this, like
curse.
fucked off whenever someone gives you like an explanation on certain concepts?
Well, it's the absurdity of the explanation, right? Like, because
Yeah,
I asked you
how's it absurd?
because I asked you earlier, how does the mutation happen? And you said it just happens.
I cannot give you like a better explanation of how like mutation occurs other than it is just a change in genetic material from the parent to the daughter when there's replication occurring.
Well, but then like the Christian on the other side could say, well, God just created us, and that's, equally viable.
So on one hand, I'm just telling you that I do not have a sufficient explanation to go into the nitty gritty of replication that you can find like by reading PhD papers, by reading textbooks on this, and then you're just saying that that's equivalent to we have this hypothesis that we cannot test at all.
So you don't have a scientific explanation for the thing you believe in, but you're reaming on me. Hold on. But you're reaming on me. You're reaming on me for believing in a God if God can't be proven through science. But yet you haven't used science to prove how the random mutation happens. You said it just happens.
So once again, you're just like misrepresenting my position. I'm telling you that I cannot sufficiently to you go into the nitty gritty of DNA replication and mutation to give you like everything that occurs there. And you're saying that is equivalent to God did it. I can't explain it at all. There's no way to explain it. Therefore,
I can't get into the scientific process of how God formed the earth and how he.
You're saying that those two positions are equivalent. They're not. Whereas on my end, I'm telling you that my knowledge on mutation is insufficient to get into the like minutia of mutation for the sake of this conversation. You are instead proposing an alternate hypothesis that has no explanation. Those are two like disparate positions, by the way. They're not equivalent at all. And to say that it is like somehow absurd is in fact an absurdity that you think that those two are equivalent at all. And it just shows that you're like hilariously bad faith.
hold on. I don't
It
grant
is
you that.
hilariously bad faith.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead, Joe.
Your argument, your argument is trust me,
Here we
bro.
go.
I don't have an explanation, but trust me, bro, an explanation exists. I don't grant you that.
So do you want me to like refer you to like biology textbooks on this? Like, is that what we're gonna
No.
go to?
No, you're the one representing evolution here. You're supposed to be able to defend
I
it
am
against
representing
my
evolution to the
interrogation.
best of my knowledge. You
So
just
not
getting
good
to the
enough
bottom
to-
of my. You're saying that you getting to the bottom of my well of knowledge is the equivalent of providing an alternate hypothesis with no explanation. Can we get that on record?
I'm asking you to tell me how evolution occurs.
You're
and
telling me
the
to get into the
mechanism
nitty-gritty of
that you
mutation. You're telling me to get into the minutia of mutations, which is not my expertise.
Well, earlier you were asking me to give you the scientific explanation of how God created everything at the same. So I don't see why this request of
yeah,
you
as
is
a way
unfair.
to demonstrate that your hypothesis can be falsified, and you failed to do that.
But then I asked
once
you
again, I told you that
to do this,
creationism
and you can't
cannot be
falsify this
falsified here.
claim either. You can't falsify
can-
this claim either. That it just happens.
So with that mutation, okay, so the falsification for mutations is that you just see like parent to genetic material and daughter genetic material being the same. That's how you falsify a mutation. So I don't know why you made that claim. That's like hilariously bad. Like, are you normally
no.
like this ignorant and bad faith?
It's not bad faith. I used your
It's
words.
not bad.
I asked you
It's not bad
questions.
faith to say that mutation is no falsification criteria when the falsification criteria is just parent material and daughter material
that's not
being
what
the
I
same
said.
thing.
The random mutation,
here we go.
that you said just happens.
I
That's
didn't say
the
random.
unfalsifiable claim.
I didn't say random.
Oh, it's not random? The mutation's not random?
True randomness would just be something akin to like white noise and like a data spread.
So the mutation's not random.
I have no idea whether it is random.
So it could
Random
be
to me just means like it would just be indicative of like true white noise, which true white noise doesn't exist. True randomness cannot really exist.
So if it's there's a problem for you here, because if it's not randomness, then it's
am I gonna
by
have to explain this
design.
to him too? I'm gonna have to explain it. All right. So
No, don't cope by
so
doing
true.
the
Yeah,
sidebar.
I'm
You
not
asked a
I'm not
question, Joe. You
coping.
got to
It's-
let him explain.
So randomness basically just means that like a data spread cannot be like correlated at all. Basically, the correlation.
Can
is
I clarify
just
what I mean
zero.
by random?
Okay, sure.
The evolutionary theory defines random, meaning that they don't know if the outcome of the mutation is going to be advantageous, neutral, or deleterious. That's what I mean by random.
So that just more so aligns with like something that's just unknown. Randomness, when we're talking about statistics, because biology utilizes statistical analyses, just randomness just means white noise, and that the data has no correlation with itself.
That's not what randomness means by the evolutionary theory. You could look it up.
So definitions are context dependent. Oh,
Hold on, wait. If you can't use the
you're
definitions
you're
of
right,
your
KungFuJoe.
theory, can we operate
Definitions
under your
are
theory?
context dependent. There is no objective definition. Great. I'm so glad that we closed that thread off. So
What do you
going
mean?
forward from that, going forward from that, instead of like quibbling about the minutia of words, we can actually finish
It's
this.
in your
we can actually finish
worldview.
this experimental analysis. By the way, so going from there, we would see that
Hold
through
on, you didn't answer my
mutations, we'd see.
question.
Wait, okay, what was the question? Let's hear it. All right, not answer.
The
doesn't even know the
like
question.
you didn't engage with the definition of random but by what the theory of evolution defines it as. The theory of evolution, if you knew it better than as well as I do, is that when they say random, it means that they don't know whether or not the mutation is going to be advantageous, or if it's going to be deleterious, or if it's going to be just benign or neutral. That's what they mean by random.
So let it be known for the audience that KungFuJoe does believe in the idea that definitions are in fact context dependent. I'm
It's
glad
your
that we
worldview.
got.
It's the
Wait, I'm glad that
scientific
we got.
worldview.
I'm glad that we got that concession once again. By the way, but also like when
No,
we're
I
using
don't agree with
statistical.
it.
So
I
when,
don't agree with
so
evolution.
you
I'm
don't
giving
agree-
you what your worldview is supposed to say.
Well, he's pointing to one
Yeah,
specific
yeah,
thing
you-
in this regard.
Hold on, Leith, really quick. Leith, what I'm trying to point out to him is I don't agree with the theory of evolution, but I'm educating him on what they mean by random mutation. So if he's not representing evolution here, then I don't know what he's representing, because I thought we were debating evolution tonight.
Well, right now we're debating terminology more than we're debating evolution, but that's perfectly fine.
I gave the correct terminology. You could look it up on your end if you want, Leith. The definition, what they posit by random,
and he's
under
flip-flopped
the-
again.
No, look here. I could look it up for you if you would like, and I could solve this right now. Here, let's
Yeah,
look it
hold
up.
on. Well,
Let's see. What does
Here we go.
random mean under the evolutionary theory?
Wait. So that's dependent on some sort of context within
It's
evolution, right?
your worldview. Yeah, I'm
Wait,
operating
so-
under your worldview.
Wait, so you're saying that that's a false definition of random?
I'm doing an internal critique. It's not what I
so
believe.
so you're saying that it's a false definition?
I'm
saying that your usage
it's
of random
yours.
is
It's
gonna
the
be a
one
category error
it's the
because
one you're
when we're
married to,
talking-
not me.
So
It's the definition
when I-
you're married to.
when I say you're conflating the usage of randomness
Bro,
here
what the
because when
fuck's
we're
going
talking
on
about
here?
when we're talking about data analysis here, when we're talking about the spread of like genetic material in this case, it has not has to be, but it is the case that statistical randomness is what we're going to be using when we're talking about allele frequencies when we get into genetics, by the way, which is going to be another part of the topic here. We have to talk about endogenous retroviruses soon, but yeah, when we're talking about like
but you
randomness,
can't even
what
tell
I
me
mean
if-
by randomness is just statistical randomness, which is the unpredictable events or data sets lacking recognizable patterns. And I liken it
Yeah.
to white noise because white noise has no distinct pattern whatsoever. It's a theoretical concept too.
So do
like-
the mutations happen randomly or not?
They do not have a true randomness to them now.
So by design.
No, that does not imply by design.
If it's not random,
The
what's
design
the
would
opposite
imply
of random?
design implies a teleology. It could just be the case that it occurs without any sense of purpose or inherent purpose.
If it's not, wait, how it's
I mean, the
either
fact
random or
that you
it's
don't know
not.
this is just you said you knew evolution, but the fact that I'm having to teach you all this is just really
No,
strange.
no.
to me. As
We're
someone
just
who's
doing
someone
we're
who's
just doing
debated
basic
evolution like
definitions
several
here.
times, by the way, that you've debated evolution several times right now. I'm assuming for like what months, years.
What's the
what are we talking?
opposite?
And you're
what's the
getting like dog
opposite-
walked by
this is
someone
meta.
who, like,
Okay, I'm not
who, like,
interested in the meta. I'm
You're
not
getting dog
interested in
walked
the
by
meta.
someone who like took like a
I'm not
week to
interested
kind of
in
just
the
like
meta
re-up
here.
on some previously like
Yeah, you're not
learned knowledge here.
You can't even you're not even using the definitions provided.
You're getting hung up on
in your own
definitions
theory.
because it's just like an imperative to your worldview to get hung
Okay,
up on them.
so you don't care
Because we're getting hung up on my definitions, but where your worldview gets hung up is just at the concept that can't be falsified.
it's the definitions. So if we can't agree,
You're
the
getting hung
definitions
up
of
on my
words,
usage of certain words. Your worldview gets
I
hung up on the
don't-
fact that
I
it
already-
can't be,
look.
it can't predict anything.
If we're going to have a debate where your definitions are subjective, then you're conceding the debate.
You have to provide an argument for objective definitions if you want to argue the case.
Okay, if you want to concede the debate, I will.
No, I'm so sorry.
No? Okay, well,
like,
I'm not going to use
Be-
subjective
because-
definitions, dude.
because the topic of objective and subjective definitions is tangential to this debate right now. I cannot like concede this entire debate because because we want to go into this tangent. What we can talk about is close up the tangential thread here and then get back to the mainline topic. The fact that you are continuing again to diverge from the topic of evolution just shows that you're not
You're
not read
dodging
up on it, you're not
questions,
knowledgeable
you're not
of
using-
evolution,
no, dude,
and you're
you
just
can't
like
even use
really,
language.
You really just want to like devolve into like the philosophy of tangential topics
you're
here.
so. What do you think? What is the philosophy of
talking
science?
about definitions
What's
being
the
objective or
philosophy of
subjective is
science?
philosophical, it's linguistic, it's a tangential topic to science.
Just grant me my definition so I can have my theory,
Nope.
my everything.
Nope.
Just grant me my definition.
You said it yourself. We need to have a common understanding of
Stop crying,
the words
dude.
that we're using I'm not just gonna like grant every single
fine.
definition. I want to talk about the usage that pertains to this topic.
Oh, your
And
subjective
keep in mind, we still haven't
definition.
gotten to the end of this because he keeps quibbling about definitions, by the way.
Yeah, because you want to use a subjective definition, and I'm saying, nah.
Well, you said earlier this was an internal
You have to
critique,
appeal
right?
to
So of
some
course you have to
standard,
grant my definitions.
other than
Of
yourself.
course you have to grant
No.
them.
No, what have
That's
I
part
made
of my
that
worldview, right? Wait, an internal critique
subjective definitions as part of
is
your
you
worldview?
it's you taking the same baseline knowledge that I'm using and agreeing with that, and then finding flaws within my argument from there. You're quibbling about the definitions. That's not an internal critique. That's you complaining about my usage of words.
It is a internal critique because the
No. How is
definitions
it an
you're
internal
using
critique?
are because
where's the
I'm-
contradiction between my usage
How are you
of
going
the
to ask
word
me a
and-
question and then block me when I start to answer your question, dude?
because you're not answering this, but you can go ahead. You can
I
answer.
am. How can I
I'll
answer
let
if
you-
you
I'll
start
let you
talking
diverge
over
further.
me?
Well, go
I'll
ahead
let
and
you
answer,
diverge
Joe.
further. Go ahead.
Yeah, how are you? Like the internal critique is I'm looking at the language you're using and seeing if you're using language correctly. And sure enough, you're not. You're saying it's a subjective definition.
So all that's required in an internal critique is that what I'm using for terms and for arguments is going to be consistent throughout. It doesn't matter whether my usage is correct. You have to find the contradiction in my worldview. The fact that you didn't know what an internal critique is before now, too, is like
can't agree on
he's spurting out again.
definitions.
You're
can't-
spurting me
no,
out
dude,
again. But anyways,
you keep
getting back
missing
to this, an internal critique just measures the consistency within my arguments. All you need to do is just grant
Yes,
the
it's
definitions that I'm
inconsistent that
saying.
you have subjective definitions. That's inconsistent.
Okay, what's the contradiction? I'm so curious.
Because I could just tell you chair means table. I could just like change all language right now and
So
you can say I'm wrong.
So that just doesn't align with my beliefs. So that's not a contradiction of my beliefs.
How
And
does
a
it not
contradiction,
believe?
by the
You
way,
just
is
said
some
it's
claim.
subjective.
So once again, I'm having to teach KungFuJoe about certain topics. So a contradiction is
Oh
going
my
to be
God,
some
bro.
premise P.
Teach me the
let's say-
definition of subjective.
I'm going to teach you the definition of contradiction first. I already told you what subjective means. You need to lock in and go back 10 minutes in the debate. But a contradiction is just going to be some premise P and some premise not P both being true. So let's say that premise P is just going to be I am wearing a gray shirt. Premise not P is I am not wearing a gray shirt. And me holding the view that I'm wearing a gray shirt and not a gray shirt at the same time will be a contradiction. So now that you know,
what this is?
now that you know what a contradiction is, can you tell me the contradiction in my worldview using the definitions that I used?
Yeah, sure. Do you know what special pleading is?
Well, here we go.
Do you know what special pleading is?
What's special? Yeah, you know what? What's special pleading? I'm so
Yeah,
curious.
so let's say
I've been
we have
teaching
a
this whole time. You can
definition.
teach me.
Let's say we have a definition of a word, right? And everyone agrees that the definition of a word is this, but you're saying no. I'm making special pleading that the definition of this word means what I think it is. You're doing a special pleading fallacy for definitions.
So you've conceded that I'm not contradicting, by the way. That
That's
right there is
that
just
is a logical
implicit,
fallacy.
That was an implicit concession right there on me contradicting.
No,
so
that's
now that we
you
know that I'm not
using logical
contradicting,
fallacies
now
to
you
push
then-
your worldview.
So now that we've shown that I'm not contradictory in my worldview, now you have to prove that I'm special pleading.
No, you're illogical. You're illogical
No,
by
you can just assert
by
that
inducing
I'm-
a special
you can just assert that
special
I'm
pleading
using,
fallacy.
fallacies and not prove it at all. Got it. Cool.
I just showed you. I just demonstrated it to you.
So
You're
this
taking
is like
a
the
word
fourth time
and
you've
you're making.
railroaded this debate and you've lost on the tangential
You
argument. Like, how many
you
times?
can't
How
even-
many times am I gonna have to whack you around before we get back to the
Bro,
topic?
you this is such cope right here. You're like,
I mean, you could say,
dude,
that this
I'm
is
winning
cope.
so
You said that I
bad because I'm
contradicted
making
myself,
words mean it
but you
whatever
couldn't
I
find
mean.
the
I want them to
contradiction,
be.
So you had to move to a different fallacy that you couldn't also prove either.
It's a fallacy. Yeah, it's a logical fallacy. You're using a
I
logical
get that
fallacy
you're like
to make
flailing
your
around,
argument.
but, like, we gotta like get linear here. Like all this like branching off right here. It's not really productive as a debate. It's not really productive for your rhetoric. It's not really productive for
This
your
is
winning.
a
I really
textbook
just don't
special
get it.
pleading fallacy. You admit that, right?
How is it special pleading?
I just explained it to you, and you want me to walk you. Okay, I'll do it really slow. Okay, were you ready? Word mean thing. Word mean thing that many people agree. Word mean thing. You say word mean something else. Word mean what me want word mean. That's how you're doing the special pleading fallacy.
So this is the third time, by the way, that he's conceded that definitions are subjective and that they're subject to some group of people or person, to some mind.
All right, bro.
So now that we've gotten that, it's
All
not
right.
special pleading because I'm just
I don't
again,
agree.
I don't believe that
agree.
definitions carry propositions. So like this idea that I'm
was
like
that- is
holding
that a-
to some like
was that a
propositional
proposition?
definition, it's just a category error.
Oh, okay.
That's
Is that
literally
true?
just a category error.
Is that true what you
What?
said? That right there, that whole thing you just said.
Oh yeah, because I hold all my views to just be true. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's true because you
I
believe
have
it's
an
true.
ontologically like primary being that makes it true. Yeah.
You believe
You want to
it.
know what the
You
being
believe
is,
it's
by the way?
true.
No,
You
I have an
the devil?
ontologically primary being. I have an ontologically primary being that like makes it true. So yeah, this is the ontologically primary being. By the way,
Yeah.
this is Spike, the pair of scissors. Say hello to Spike,
Mhm.
everyone. The ontologically primary being. So yeah, that's going to be my grounding for everything in
Would you
this
say
debate.
Spike is non-contingent?
Yeah, no, Spike is necessary. Spike is a necessary being.
Spike is a necessary being. Did
absolutely.
Did Spike exist before you did?
Absolutely, yes. Spike
did?
has to exist by necessity in all possible worlds.
Can you prove that?
Well, this is like the 5th time he's like diverged, by the way. Like
Bro,
now I'm like
you're the
making
one-
fun. Now I'm
hold
making
on.
fun of the ontological argument for him
You
too.
just
Like, this
said,
is
how
like,
are you doing?
like we're like this is
it's
where
true
this is the
because I
state of
said it's
creationists, by the
true.
way. They can't prove anything in their worldview.
Okay.
When I'm
Really?
asked to provide my worldview, we're getting quibbled
Yeah.
up on whether definitions are objective or subjective. And it seems to be the case that you're being gapped intellectually, you're being gapped on the facts, you're being gapped on the rhetoric, you're being gapped on the sidebar, and you're just being gapped here right now on the ontological
it.
argument too. Like
Okay.
I just predicted literally everything right now. So
Got it.
can we get back to evolution, please?
Yeah. I don't think there's any reason for me to believe that anything you're saying is true. Because you don't even believe in objective truth. So there's nothing.
I'm so
there's
sorry.
nothing here.
Spike, the
No,
pair
no.
of scissors right here, the necessary ontological primary being right
Well,
here,
hold on.
just makes all these facts true.
Hold on. I got some questions for you.
This was bestowed onto me. These facts were bestowed to me.
Hold on. Pump the brakes there, buddy. Hey, so
He's
do
going to
you
get into the
believe-
ontological argument. Here we
do
go.
you believe that? I want to investigate your worldview. I'm going back into the eternal critique again.
And
So-
now, and look at this. We're off evolution again. I'm so sorry.
No, we're going into evolution.
Lethal.
No, this is part of evolution.
Is the
You're a
is the topic
naturalist, right?
evolution or is the topic the ontological
This is
argument?
linked.
As
This
far
is
as I
linked to
understand,
evolution.
this is an evolutionary debate.
Great.
And it is
So would
evolving
you agree
into
that
something
the
different, and I don't know
ontological argument
how.
is a sidebar then?
Yeah, but we can't. You
So
already
the ontological
said
argument is a sidebar. Can we get back to evolution, please?
we can't because I'm not granting you your definition, your subjective definition.
Okay. So again, you need to provide the argument for objective definitions then.
So I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna prove that you have no property over that. But I do.
We're not going to prove that
And I'm going to use your
definitions are
worldview.
objective.
Go ahead.
We're not going to.
Please,
So
can
we're
you
not going
set
to
us
prove
on a
that
timer?
the definitions are
Can you
objective.
give us a timer, 1 minute back and forth? Because he's interrupting too much.
I'm not
he's just
I'm not going to
filibustering.
grant
You're
this.
just
I'm not gonna-
filibustering,
nope.
bro. You're just filibustering.
I'm asking you, can
You're
you provide an
filibustering.
argument for objective definitions? Yes or no? Can you provide
Yes.
that? All right, provide the argument, please. Ideally, if you can formalize it, that'd be great.
Sure. So objective, do you believe in that there's such a thing as objective truth?
So I want you to provide the argument for stance-independent definitions.
Yeah, I'm giving you the argument. I'm giving you it in a form of a line of questioning.
So I just want you to provide the argument.
Oh, sure. So
We need you to
premise one-
establish your worldview with respect to definitions.
we use logic to create language. That's how we
that's it?
came up with definitions. Yeah.
That's a premise.
Yeah.
That
use
is
logic
that's
to-
not an argument. That's just a premise.
What are you asking for? An argument for?
I'm asking you for an
objective-
argument that where the conclusion is definitions are objective. What you just provided me was some premise.
Well, logic is objective.
Okay, so again, we're at logic right now. I need to get
Yeah.
us to definitions here.
Yeah, we form definitions through logic.
We form definitions through logic. Can you demonstrate
Yes.
that?
Yeah, if me and Leith wanted to create like a new language right now, we could get together and then create different sounds and then assign meanings to those sounds, and that would be like using logic to create language.
So you're saying that it takes minds to create sounds?
Um, well, you'd have to have a body and the capability to create sounds. Yeah, so long as everything's
So-
working correctly.
So you
yeah.
agree? So you agree that it takes a mind to create a sound? I just want a yes or no right there. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you've just completely disproved the worldview here. So you just
How's
said
that?
that, by the way, that sounds are subjective. By the way, that it's mind dependent.
No, I didn't. I didn't say sounds
Yeah,
are subjective.
So subjective just means like mind dependent in this case, or dependent on some subject. You creating a language is dependent on you and Lethal Water Kai creating a language and putting your minds together to create it.
Yeah.
So
we're
you just
using
right there. You
logic,
just
right?
proved that language is subjective too.
No, well, so the reference are subjective, but the referent is not. So I could point at the apple and say that's an apple, and it's still going to be an apple. It's still going to be a fruit hanging from a tree, no matter what I call it. I could call it an apple in Japanese. It's still going to be there. The rock is still a rock, no matter what we call the rock.
Yeah, but the mouth sounds that you just described that object are going to be subject to language, right? And language is subject to whatever mind created.
What is
it, right?
language? What is a language?
Language is just going to be like some set of like mouth sounds that correspond to some like set of rules that are created by humans.
A set of rules? What kind of rules?
like syntactical rules, like grammatical rules, how we like say certain things, like I guess the phonetics.
Definitional rules? How about definitional rules?
Yeah, they're created by humans. Like humans create languages.
So in order to use a language, you need to operate from within its rules in order to leverage it, correct? Language
And
is a tool.
are the rules mind dependent?
For understanding, yeah, we need to
Okay, great.
independently interpret.
So we're
rules,
still on rules being subjective for language. So we use these mouth sounds to create definitions in a language, by the way, which is subjective. So right now we're getting all these parts together right here, all of which are subjective here. That
but we
describe
can't
an
use a
object in
language unless
reality.
we all agree on the definitions, correct?
We can agree on most of the conventions of a language, yeah. But over time, languages are going to morph. A common example of this would just be like
They
AAV.
morph by agreement, right?
They morph by, I guess, yeah, common usage, sure.
Common agreement, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but there's no propositional like truthness to like AAVE, or like there's no like propositional truthness to like calling this a pair
I
of
didn't say there
scissors.
was. I didn't say there was. I'm saying in order to use
Right, then
language,
we
need
agree
to obey
that
the rules of the language.
definitions are subjective. Then what you've just done is agree for the fourth time now that definitions are subjective.
No, they're
And
not
he's going to
subjective.
flail you.
They're not subjective because one person could
Here we
go
go.
blah 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 blah, right? And you don't know what I'm saying unless we all agree on what blah 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 means, right? So language is useless. There's the reference and there's the
it's
reference.
true. So it's true if it's popular.
It's true if you agree. Not true. It's just a language. You agree on the rules of the language, and that makes the
it's
language
not
valid.
propositional. Okay, so it's not propositional.
No,
So
it is propositional. You have to propose that that X means Y.
So what's the proposition in saying scissors?
What are scissors?
Scissors. I just described scissors to be like this object right here that has two blades right here that when formed together can cut some object.
And is that your subjective definition, or is that a mutually agreed definition based on the language you're using?
Both are subjective definitions, so that's just going to be a category error on your part.
No.
And he's frustrated again.
Is yes or no?
You're
Yes or no?
You're gonna be
But
this frustrated the
didn't
entire
I say?
debate.
Didn't I say he's going to dodge yes or no questions, and instead he's going to go on to a
I don't know
filibuster
what question
instead?
I've dodged here. I don't
Yeah,
know what
yes,
question I've dodged.
yes or no? Did you create the definition for the tool scissors in English, or did you adopt that from an already created language?
So I just came up with the definition of scissors through like what we would commonly know to be scissors.
So you adopted an already
Yeah, I adopted a certain framework from other minds. Yeah, so
you
we're still in the
adopted
mind dependent
a
realm, by the way.
Yeah,
We haven't left the
adopted,
mind dependent realm here.
dude. Yes or no? You adopted an already created, mutually agreed upon definition for a tool called scissors.
Yes, mutually agreed upon. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's
Okay.
mind. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mind dependent.
yeah. So
Just
but
keeping
then
that in mind, by the way.
so then when you use the term random or error, you're saying no.
He's
I'm
still
gonna.
he's still caught up on this.
Hold on. Stop. So when we use the term random or error, you're going to cope and make special pleading fallacy and say no. This time, I'm not going with the colloquial definition. I'm not going with the dictionary definition or the mutually agreed upon definition in the English language. I'm going to Bones' subjective definition. And if KungFuJoe doesn't allow me to use this, he's bad faith.
So we've once again he's conceded that definitions are not propositional and they're not objective, but they're in fact subjective. And he made once again another he made another category error, by the way. I just said that definitions do not carry propositions, so there is no like right or wrong proposition. It is only
a proposition.
Relative
a definition
to
is
usage.
A proposition.
And by the way, we were supposed to get again into like whether my worldview led to a contradiction. He's moved past that for like 5 minutes now, going back into illogical. Going back into the same topic that he wanted to get dunked on again for, apparently, because like he's like got this fascination with the idea of objective definitions, but doesn't want to make an argument for it. By the way, still doesn't want to make an argument for it. By the way, and is again, it's just a diversion.
Here, I'll make an argument. I'll make an argument for how
Absolutely.
nothing you say here matters, right?
Joe.
And it's operating perfectly within your naturalist evolutionary worldview, right? So you would agree that states of affairs are not true or false; they're just blunt facts, or they're just happening, right? Like there's just
how does this relate to evolution?
Hold on, dude. Can you just fucking God? You're just so Weasley and bad faith, dude. Seriously, you cut me off. You won't answer the fucking questions.
I grant that you're frustrated.
Defend evolution, yeah, because you're a fucking weasel. That's why you came up here with so much confidence, and you want to dodge questions. Is answering questions hurting your position here?
I've answered pretty much every question so far.
No,
by the way,
no,
you said you wanted to debate on evolution. By the way, but again,
yeah, here we go.
Right
here
now,
we go. You
right
ready?
now, the topic.
Ready?
Right now, the topic is whether definitions are objective.
We're going back to your
still waiting.
Here we are.
I'm still waiting on the argument for that.
I explained the reference and referent so many times that the referent is
he's not going to do it.
Agreed on definition called language. Okay, I don't want to walk this over. We're looping. So here we go. I'm going to posit you an argument from your worldview to you. Okay. Now listen. Answer my first question. Do states of affairs have a truthness or falseness value to them, like a blade of grass just growing or a lion eating a zebra's head?
So how does this get to an objective definition?
Don't fucking ask me a question. Just answer my question.
So this right there, that is a pivot from what we were asking for you to provide here.
So,
you said you wanted
to
get an argument for objective definitions, but right now we are pivoting, by the way. We are pivoting off of that topic. So like right now we've forked once again off to like objective definitions. Now you want to fork off again into something different.
You have to engage with my line.
I'm like waiting for us to get back to evolution. We haven't even finished.
I'm trying to get.
We haven't even finished my experiment.
I'm trying to walk you. I put the leash on you. I'm trying to walk you back to evolution.
You've walked me off the path. Like there's like right now we're walking on the nice concrete path. You took us off into some like dirt path, and now you're off the dirt path into the middle of the woods.
The dirt path is where you want to use
So
subjective definition.
Ask your question again, Joe.
Okay. Yes or no? Do states of affairs have a truthness or falseness nature to them?
This is irrelevant to
Yes
whether
or
you're-
no? My God.
This is irrelevant to whether definitions are objective. I'm just waiting for you to provide the argument here. I'm so sorry. If we're going to be linear here, we're going to be linear on something here, okay?
I didn't say
And right now,
I
I've
didn't
granted
say-
you just one fork here. I've granted you just one fork off the
Hey, look
topic
what I
here.
can do.
I am waiting patiently right now for you to give an objective definition or the
Guaranteed.
idea of
For you.
an objective definition.
No, language have rules. You have to operate within the rules of a
And
language.
those rules
to
are
use
mind
language.
dependent. Again, we've
No,
gone through
they're-
this several
You're not-
times.
dude,
Again,
oh my God. You have to the definition.
he-
You have to
you
agree
keep
with
pivoting
every
off to
other
new
mind,
topics.
dude. You have to agree with every other mind engaging
So-
with the language.
Wait, do we
Essentially, how
have-
this
do we have
works
to?
out is someone gives a definition. You can choose to agree or not agree with the definition.
I
they're
disagree.
using in context.
So
if you disagree,
then you're not doing an
you
internal critique, by
propose.
the way.
You
No, I
propose a
am doing
definition.
internal critique.
If you don't agree, you propose a definition and see if your interlocutor
Yeah.
will agree with it. And
Yeah,
juxtapose.
So an internal critique, by the way, just measures the consistency of one's
God,
views.
dude.
You disagreeing with my definition is in no way progressing the conversation and is in no way testing my consistency here.
You're not pointing to
if we wanna
anything
get
that
back
backs up
to-
your
so
definition.
I'm trying to get back to evolution here.
I'm going to
trying
use the
desperately
dictionary. I'm
to
using the
get
dictionary to
evolution.
define
By the way,
all
we
the
were
terms
supposed to
I'm
be debating
using,
evolution,
and you're like,
and now we were
"Nuh-uh."
off on whether states of affairs are true or false. Like that's how
No,
far we've
dude.
gone off the path.
No,
by the
dude,
way.
you
So,
want
once
because
again,
you want to go this path. You want to go
So
this
once
path.
again,
So I'm going to take you on it.
because you insist on this idea of objective definitions, and once again,
Not
I'm
objective. I
asking
didn't
for the
say
seventh
objective.
ti-
Nobody ever said objective. Nobody ever said
Oh,
objective.
wait, so-
Agreed upon
so
rules
then the
within a
claim that
language.
objective definitions exist is that's just false.
I
okay?
didn't say that. I
agree
didn't
then?
say it. I never said
just
that.
conceded
I
just a
never made
second
that
ago.
claim. I
You
never
said that you
made
weren't
that
talking
claim.
about
So
objective
to try to
definitions,
clean this
so-
up a
I
little
never
bit,
made
Joe,
a claim about objective definitions.
Joe, would you agree that there are contextual definitions that once agreed upon become objective to the conversation at hand?
I don't know if I would go that far to say objective because I don't agree that language is objective. I agree that language is agreed upon by individuals, right? And we create, just like I gave the example earlier, me and you could create Klingon right now, right? That would just be me and you, right? And then we could write a script around it. We could get a cult of people to speak Klingon like they do today, right? In reality, what I'm saying is that language operates under a set of rules. You cannot use the language correctly if you're not going to abide by the rules of said language. And I use dictionary definitions for the language I'm using, meaning I'm agreeing to the rules of the language I'm using, and he's saying, no, I don't need to do that.
So I'm just giving you like a different usage. That's all I'm doing.
You're giving me
just taking one like mind dependent definition, by the way, to be like more useful than the one I'm using.
It's not an
Like
actual
the fact that I've
definition.
like clarified pretty much everything I've said, just like goes to show that
you
like
made it up.
I
It's a
am
made up
consistent right now.
definition. It's just made up
I
by you
agree
only.
that I made it up so that way we could like have like a kind of idea of what's going on because I
Okay.
felt like it was at the time
All
more
right.
useful to go off of that than just say
You know what?
oh,
Fine,
like,
I'm gonna
instead
play.
of saying
I'm gonna play by
errors,
your
instead
rules.
it's just
then.
like changes in like a like from the
Alright.
daughter or sorry from the parent genetic material to the daughter material. I just thought that
Alright.
was a more concise way of putting it. But since
You know what?
since
I
Kung Fu
think
Joe since Kung Fu
evolution-
Joe just doesn't understand the idea of like what concise means,
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
He
You know
doesn't
what?
understand like using concise language. He isn't like approximating
Let me-
language. That's fine. So we're gonna go back to
You gotta
evolution
keep
because he's
filibustering,
really
bro.
he said he's really eager to talk about evolution.
He's-
So
Leith,
once
stop with
again, the
filibustering, dude.
combination
Well, he's
between
not filibustering.
mutations.
He's going back to
Yes,
evolution.
he is. He's going in circles. Can we? Okay,
Dude.
So
He
no,
is
I'm
back to
getting the train
evolution.
back on the tracks right here.
okay. I'm going to play by
We've
your rules.
pulled the
I'm going to use
conversation
subjective
back to evolution
definitions. Okay.
Okay,
you
so
know
he's
what?
gonna
I'm
That's
continue.
fine. You can.
I'm gonna
you can
I'm
be
gonna
asked
grant
that.
you
That's
subjective
fine.
definitions. I'm gonna play by your rules. I'm gonna use subjective.
That's fine.
definitions.
You can be
Okay.
very salty about it later. So, anyways,
I'm not
Going
salty.
back to evolution here, so the experiment, if whales did in fact used to walk, we would see that over time, that we would see the morphological change between some animal that we're saying is a predecessor to now, and we'd find like something in between then. And then we'd find something before then that resembles something a little bit different from that, but resembles the middle animal in this case. In this case, it would be whales preceded by Ambulocetus, preceded by Pakicetus. And that would be the evidence that we would find there. And if we didn't find this evidence, it would be in favor. It would show that it would favor some other hypothesis, and it would falsify the idea that whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals. And the way that we test this, in this specific case, we find fossils, we date them to the time period that we're looking for, or rather, what we date them to the time period in which we believe that they're at, using whatever like specimen, whatever we use for radiometric decay in this case,
I already
whatever
understand
chemicals that
how
we're using.
you come to believe your theory of evolution. Trust me.
You wanted
This-
me to provide the scientific method here. I'm going step by step.
That's not. Yeah, you're already.
You asked for a step by step
I disagree
experiment
with
here.
your steps already. So this is
So-
like another question
So
begging
wait,
fallacy.
So then
Can I
now
critique
you
what he
have
just said?
so then now the
Hold on.
critique has to be like how is it not following in line with the steps of the scientific method?
So
yeah,
I
because
would
the critique that
say
you need to
let
levy
him
to me.
finish elaborating on each step of the scientific method. If you have issue with the steps of the scientific method, you can outline them.
Okay, perfect. And
Yeah.
then the conclusion being that the hypothesis is either true or false. In this case, with whales, the hypothesis is shown to be true in this case, in the like most loose sense of true in this case. In the same fact that you can ever like say that evolution is true, but it's just that it's not false.
Okay, John Cross.
So basically, this is question begging because you start with the first premise is that the assumption that everything has a common ancestor, and you make predictions based on that assumption. Then anything you find couldn't be a non-transitional fossil, which would be question begging. So that would be
okay.
the
So I see
that
where
would
we're
be the
confused.
error
Here.
There. Hold on. I'm not fucking done. I just let you fucking
I
talk.
see where we're.
I
I see where we're
just let you
confused,
talk.
but you can go on. You can
I
go
just
on.
let you talk. So, I mean, I don't even know if that matters because I just agreed by the rules of the game he's playing, and so now I just define evolution as divine creation. God just created us. The biblical account is true, and I guess that I guess that's debate over.
All right, so I just told you the way that we falsify the hypothesis is that actually whales are not descendant of land-dwelling mammals, that in fact they could be descendants of fish. That is a way of falsifying it. Can you...
Wait,
Try again?
did you just agree what I said right there?
No, I told you a way that the
No?
hypothesis could be false.
No.
Your
I said,
critique was specifically that the hypothesis could never be
Hold
proven
on.
false. I gave you
said-
a way to prove it false.
Wait,
So
no,
can
no,
you
no,
engage with
wait.
that now?
I'm
No,
engaging with
he's going to pivot off of that
I'm
now.
engaging with your worldview right now. So you just said
So
that definitions. Can you stop interrupting me? You just said that definitions
You're-
were subjective. So now the
Go back to
definition
the
of
meta.
evolution is that no, it's not. The definition of evolution is
I'm going
divine
to be
creation.
playing this in the meantime, by the way. So go ahead.
That's my argument now from your worldview.
So once again, I gave you the falsification criteria. Can you repeat it back to me?
Well, evolution no longer exists
Nope.
because I just decided
he-
evolution means divine creation.
So once again, Joe is just completely lost on the subject here.
What?
I don't
Whoa,
know how many
whoa, whoa,
times I
but
have to
you
like
just said
rail.
definitions are
whoa,
subjective.
whoa there! I thought you were supposed to let me speak. So, anyways, Joe is lost on the subject here. I told him that the falsification for the hypothesis would just be that whales did not evolve from land-dwelling mammals, but let's say fish in this case, or cephalopods, or insects, even like anything other than land-living animal or land-dwelling animals in this case would be a way to falsify the hypothesis. So, Joe, I'm going to hand this back to you. Can you engage with that, please?
Yeah, I'm engaging with your worldview right now, which is that definitions are subjective. So since they are, I think evolution, the definition of evolution is divine creation. So there's no longer any such thing as random mutation and common ancestry now. Now evolution just means divine creation. I guess that means the debate is over.
So, what was my critique of your position, by the way? Just curious.
It doesn't matter because definitions are
And
subjective.
once again, so again, KungFuJoe is going to crash out again. I once again, he said that the hypothesis that I gave him that whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals could not be falsified, and then
Wait, how am I
several
wrong?
ways, and I gave him several ways that it could be
How am I
falsified.
wrong?
And once again, I'm going to tell you this. So
How
it
am I
could be
wrong?
the case that whales came from, let's say, fish. That whales could have come from insects. That it could have come from fucking amoebas.
This is a red
could have
herring,
come
by
from
the way.
anything other than land-dwelling mammals, and that would be a way to falsify evolution in this case.
It's a red herring.
So-
Evolution
Well,
doesn't
You
exist.
gotta let him finish. You gotta let him finish.
So yeah, once again, it is up to you now to tell me how that is not falsification criteria for the hypothesis.
Because evolution doesn't exist.
And there we go. He's
Yeah.
not going to engage.
I am engaging. I'm
So-
engaging directly with your worldview. What do you mean?
So how did that engage? So let's step back once again.
Yeah,
You told me that my hypothesis could not be falsified. Is that correct?
True,
I
because
gave
definitions
you-
are subjective.
So the claim whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals can be
Subjective.
shown. So whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals
Mhm.
could be either true or
Subjectively?
false.
Subjectively true.
I'm asking you if you know what a claim means. Okay.
Subjectively
so whales
true?
evolved from land-dwelling mammals.
Stance dependently true.
Is that a proposition?
stance independently true? Are propositions true or false?
He's gonna crash out. He's going
Are
to the
they
meta
true or-
once
are
again.
pro- are
So
propositions
I'm
true
gonna ask
or
the question
false?
again. So is
Uh-huh.
the statement whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals?
Yeah.
Is that a proposition? Yes or no?
Sure.
Can propositions either be true or false? Since you love logic so much.
In your worldview or in mine?
In your worldview.
Well, I've actually abandoned my worldview to adopt yours. So I guess that means they're subjective.
Okay. So yeah, under my worldview, propositions are either true or false.
But that's subjective though. I think propositions.
He's
I
not
think-
gonna engage.
I think
Like,
propositions mean that
this is
they're always
exactly what I
false.
predicted. By the way, it's just gonna be sidebar. So
Well, I'm
Yeah,
using
so
your
anyway,
logic, right?
So once again, since you've abandoned your worldview, by the way, so you've just conceded the entire debate. I'm glad that we've gotten that out of the way. So
Yeah. How do
is
we
the-
know who's
so
right or
can-
wrong?
Are propositions either true or false?
According to who?
These are the laws of logic that I'm referring to
The
now.
laws of logic, are those invariant and universal, or are they subjective?
You already agree with me, so I don't know why you think
Yes or
we
no?
need to contest this.
Yes or no?
I'm just gonna say yes,
Yes or
in this
no?
case. I'm just gonna say
yes,
yes.
they
absolutely.
are subjective.
And they're instantiated by
yes, they are
Spike the
subjective?
pair of scissors. They're instantiated
Yeah.
by the necessary being Spike the pair of scissors. So yes,
Okay.
Aristotelian logic is grounded in Spike the pair of scissors. So once
Okay.
again, are propositions either true or false?
Stance dependently or independently?
So are propositions either true or false? I want an answer.
They're
to that.
whatever I.
It
I
literally doesn't
choose
matter whether it's stance dependent or stance independent. in this
Depends on
case.
the proposition.
So are you saying that there's a proposition that can like be both true and false, or is somewhere in the middle?
No, I just give
Are
me
you
a
denying
proposition.
Aristotelian logic? I thought you were adopting my worldview.
I am. They're only true or false
Okay,
if I
so-
say they are.
So under my worldview, instantiated by the necessary being Spike the pair of scissors, propositions can either be true or false.
Oh, that's cool. I disagree with you.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
what's going to be the argument for that? I thought you agreed with my worldview. So
I do.
So now that you've
meaning
granted
they're
my
subjective,
worldview
right?
at this point, and
Subjective.
now that we've reached a point where it's like not not conducive to your argument. We're going to diverge away from my viewpoint now.
No. I'm operating within your
And
worldview.
you say that I'm bad faith, by the way,
are
but like this is like every
subjective.
single tactic that like creationists use to like get out of ever
I'm
like
just
engage in
using
PR
your
arguments.
language. I'm just operating from under your worldview.
So no, I already said that my worldview is instantiated by the necessary being Spike the pair of scissors, and that Aristotelian
Subjectively,
logic is
right?
true. No, objectively
Objectively?
through Spike the pair of scissors.
Oh, objectively. Okay, so it's universal and stance independent.
Yes, Aristotelian logic is stance independent and is instantiated by the necessary being Spike the pair of scissors.
And how do you know this? How do you know that to be true?
Oh, this was just bestowed upon me by Spike the pair of scissors. It was revealed to me
Okay,
divinely.
so it's only true to you and nobody else.
No, other people can be revealed.
I didn't ask you if they can.
Other
I asked
people can
you-
understand the revelatory
I didn't
knowledge
ask
that
you if
Spike
they
the pair of
can.
scissors brings. But you know,
I
some
didn't ask
people are
you if
close
they
to them.
can.
Some people's minds are closed to Spike the pair of scissors.
I didn't
and,
ask you. I didn't
Spike
ask you.
can only-
Can. I said.
Spike can only just reveal it to people who are willing to be open to him.
Ah, I see. So okay, God too.
Yeah, it must be really nice to have the argument thrown back at you. By the way, right?
Well, there's no art. I'm just
Like the
operating
wind
under
has
your
been
logic.
taken out of your cells entirely.
No,
here. So
no,
like,
I
when
think
we're on the topic of evolution,
evolution
you're
means
completely
divine
lost. I've had to
creation.
explain every single concept to you, and the most you can get out
What's
of
a
me was,
concept?
"Oh,
Are they stance independent?
and look at that. He's going to go to the Phil bro shit because he's just completely lost in evolution, by the way. But I've already like smacked him on the Phil bro shit because I can just invoke Spike the pair of scissors right here. The
And I could
necessary
just
being, by the way.
invoke whatever.
Praise be
Flying
upon
spaghetti
Spike the pair of
monster,
scissors.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about as valid.
How am I wrong? How am I wrong?
Well, Spike the pair of scissors is a necessary being, and yeah. So
Oh.
the flying spaghetti monster is just contingent, and is just borrowing from Spike's the worldview that Spike proposes.
Okay. Well, my subjective definition disagrees with your subjective definition.
No. I have an objective framework through Spike the pair of scissors.
Says who?
I mean, again, Spike the necessary being right here. All knowing, all powerful, all good.
Uh-huh. I don't hear him telling me anything.
Well, yeah, because your mind's closed to Spike the pair of scissors. You need to open up your
Oh.
mind. All heathens that do not reveal, allow Spike the pair of scissors to,
Mhm.
cut into their minds
Okay.
and insert the knowledge into them.
Here, okay,
Then
this has
then
been,
they're gonna be damned to eternal ignorance. So,
it's a pretty fun. This is a pretty fun ride, but let me bring us back to evolution.
I
here.
thought,
So,
are we gonna get
so-
back to evolution? By the way,
yeah. I want to see
okay,
how
cool. So
I want to see
still,
how it
I still
operates
want
under.
the.
I'm excuse
So I
me. I'm
still-
interrogating you.
So
It's your worldview.
I still
that
want
has to
you
be
to
in-
tell me how
interrogated.
my experiment
No, you're not
just
interrogating
deviates
me.
from the scientific method. Wait, I thought I was supposed to be debating evolution.
Yeah.
So your goal right now is to determine whether the experiment that I've set up right here is out of the line of the scientific method, and so far we've gotten nowhere, Billy. You're still kind of hung
don't-
up on the idea of
I want to
propositions.
know how you determine that to be like true or false, so I could you could educate me on it.
So,
but you're
okay,
failing
great.
at that. So
Great,
can
so
I
I'm gonna
ask
do it
you?
for the
Let me
fourth
ask you
time, by the
some
way.
questions. Okay, let me ask you some questions.
So I'm going to do it for the fourth time, by
no,
the way. You said that my
no,
hypothesis cannot be
Don't run
proven
away.
false.
Don't run away. Yeah, don't run away.
No. You said earlier that my hypothesis can't be proven false.
you don't believe in truth or false.
So no, I'm so sorry. Spike the pair of
Yeah,
scissors
okay, so
instantiates
I'm
like
not.
the
I don't. I'm not.
Aristotelian logic
Well,
here.
sorry, I'm not interested in what you and Spike have to say. I'm just not interested.
Well, okay then I'm so sorry. Then we just
Okay.
can't have this debate if you,
You
don't
and
think
your
that
scissor-
Aristotelian logic
your-
is true. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
you and your scissor friend.
If you believe that
I'm
propositions
afraid,
can't be like that,
you
there's
and your
some like
scissor
third
friend, I'm
position
afraid
between
that
true
you're
and
just
false.
not selling me on your
Lethal water
subjective
cut. He's just like
definition of what
he's just begging for
evolution
this
is.
conversation to get back to evolution, and I can't
I
agree.
swear to
with him more,
Spike
dude.
know,
right
but
now,
you don't
Joe,
wanna-
we got to get through this.
You don't want to represent evolution right
Spike-
now. You want to
Spike,
use a subjective
Spike
definition.
knows all right here, and he knows that we're going to get back to the topic of evolution, despite Joe's attempts
Okay,
to
so
diverge
So are
from the
you going to
truth
let me
here.
run a line
The
of
truth
questioning
will
on
be
you? Yes or
revealed
no?
through Spike the pair of scissors. Okay,
Does
I'm
answering
revealing the
questions
truth
hurt
through
your
Spike the pair
worldview?
of scissors.
Does,
So,
does
once again-
answering questions hurt your worldview?
Well,
So-
are you willing
So no,
to
I've answered
does-
it several times.
accept the answers
no,
to
you
the
haven't.
questions that you ask?
Yes or
So,
no only.
again,
I'm going to ask
so
him a
the
series
hypo-
of
so
yes
the
or no
hypothesis-
questions.
So the hypothesis is
doesn't wanna let me
whales
do- he's not
evolved
gonna let
from
me do it.
land-dwelling mammals.
He's not going to
The way that we could prove this to be false is that whales do not evolve from land-dwelling mammals, but instead
You
some
haven't
other
explained
type of
how
animal.
they evolved from land-dwelling mammals, sir.
I already told you the mechanisms. Again, we can
didn't.
go back 30 minutes in a
You
debate and
said they just
rehash this again.
happened. You said they just
I
happened.
just told. So I just told
You
you
said
that
evolution just
DNA. So that
happens.
DNA replication happens, and that mutations
It just
happen as a
happens.
result of that.
Magically?
No, there's a
No?
like naturalist. There's a natural mechanism.
How?
Again, I told you this is as
How?
deep as my knowledge goes on
Trust me,
mutations
bro?
in general.
Trust me, bro.
So no, I'm telling you that is the limit to my knowledge right here.
Trust me,
Is
bro.
that
Right?
is that
that's your
DNA
argument
mutations
there.
occur?
So in place of an explanation, you want to put "trust me, bro."
So no, I'm telling you that you can only go that I can only go so far into my knowledge, and that there is more knowledge that
Oh.
I do not have.
Well, the question,
And you're
Joe,
claiming someone
I
else
do not
does.
need to, I do
So
not
the
need
hold
to
on,
say
and you're
that
claiming.
it's-
So you don't
wait,
have it.
stop,
Does that mean someone else
I'm
does?
not telling you to trust me.
So, Joe, do you agree or disagree that he has given terms of falsifiability for his proposition?
No, because he hasn't defined how the one thing changed into another. He hasn't like explained that to me sufficiently.
So I told you the types of mutations, by the way, substitution, deletion, insertion.
How does a mutation happen?
How does a mutation happen?
Yeah.
It is just like some deviation from the process of DNA replication.
Don't tell me what happens. Tell me how it happens.
Again, that is as deep as my knowledge goes. I can like pull up papers and kind of go deeper into it and just read off of what experts are saying right here. But like I can give you papers on this.
I've already looked them up. Yeah, they don't explain it either.
They don't explain it either.
Nope.
Do you like think the existence of DNA is just false?
I didn't say that.
So okay, so does DNA exist?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So you grant the DNA exists. How do you think DNA transfers from the parent to the child?
The way it does, like you commute, like both the egg or whatever gets inseminated, and then both genes combine into their own unique human.
And so like the DNA like combines with another parent and creates new DNA.
With traces of DNA from both parents. Yeah.
So okay, so you grant that DNA replication occurs. Do you grant that the child is going to be different from the parents?
With variations, it depends.
Okay, cool, gotcha. So I can go even further actually. Then, so do you understand how like cancer happens? Or sorry, no, not cancer. Alzheimer's actually is probably going to be a better way to go about
We
it.
don't actually understand how Alzheimer's happens really yet.
Yeah, then we can go to cancer a little bit then. So how cancer occurs is that there's in most cells that are on our bodies, there is some sort of termination mechanism that prevents these cells from replicating endlessly. And through some
How?
mutation, there's just like a part of the genetic code that tells the DNA that tells the cell to stop replicating.
Intentionally or not intentionally?
As in like it's dependent on some sort of mind to do so.
However you wanted to.
Like intention requires a mind.
Oh, so not intentionally.
Intention requires a mind.
Yeah. So what's the opposite of that?
There's some sort of like organelle or something that will just read the code.
I understand. So what's the opposite of intention?
Intention is just like it's not like dependent on someone's will.
What's the opposite of intention?
So if intention is just dependent on someone's will, then non-intentional is not dependent on someone's will.
So what causes it if there's no intention?
I just told you there's some sort of organelle that reads the DNA code, and there's some section of code, some gene that says, "Hey, stop replicating this cell."
It just says, "Hey," and it like for no reason, it just does it. It just happens.
There is like no inherent reason. It's just like the instructions. Effectively,
It just happens.
It just happens.
It
Yes,
just
absolutely.
happens. Okay. We got there again where he just said that, evolution is a basically magic absent a magician.
So,
It just
uh,
happens, but there's
So
no
magic implies some sort of
just happens. That's magic.
supernatural. It's like, what supernatural concept did I invoke?
No, magic doesn't. No, magicians do magic too, right? Like that's just magic.
Oh, so now
it
you're
just,
so
it just
wait, there is a
appears,
naturalistic
right?
process then. So there's a naturalistic process.
I don't know that. You haven't explained that to me.
So wait, so magicians do not invoke like some supernatural concept to do the tricks that they're using. It's usually like a sleight of hand. Like those are things
Yeah.
that just that occur outside
Mhm.
that can be physically. Basically, I'm using a new word
Mhm.
now. That can be physically,
You just
understood.
made that up in your language.
Yes, absolutely. It's just
Okay.
at its base
consistent.
level, the sleight of hand can just be kind of determined through physics, through some like hand motions,
Yeah. So it just happens.
however complex or chaotic it is.
Yeah. So it just
Yeah.
happens.
So yeah, what I mean by natural is that it's like explained by like physical concepts. In this case, with the
Oh.
sleight of hand, it's just physics, effectively.
So it just happens out of nowhere magically. Like
It can
just
be explained through
inexplicably.
like it can be explained through physics, biology, chemistry.
It can be, but you're not doing that.
Yeah, because I don't have the knowledge necessary to go into like how like
Uh-huh.
chemically DNA is produced, how at some point the like organelles know when to stop
Uh-huh.
certain things. Like yeah, I don't have
Uh-huh.
like that knowledge, but I can tell you
So
like the
yeah.
description of the
Mhm.
process.
So basically you came here to argue that trust me, bro, it just happens.
So once again, we've already discussed this several times. What I'm telling you is that I have a limit to my knowledge right here, and that
Mhm.
there is some naturalistic process right here that,
Mhm.
however, I can't explain. There are probably people that are able to explain it to a better degree than I can. So I'm not telling you to trust me on
Ah.
this. I'm telling you,
Oh.
hey, do
Okay.
your research and
Okay.
go into the
All right.
deeper.
Got
So
it.
go
You
into the
conceded the
deeper like
debate.
understanding of no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You said don't trust you on this. So I can't trust you to represent
Don't
or
trust me on
defend
the
evolution right now.
do not trust me
So
on anything that I am not
on the key
knowledgeable of,
component of
specifically.
evolution, of what causes evolution, don't trust me on the cause
And
of
he's just gonna keep
evolution
doing this, by the way.
itself. Don't trust me
once
on the cause of
again-
evolution itself.
So once again, what I'm saying
Just
to
He's
not
grant
not
me
trust
gonna
that it
me
stop.
on
happens.
He's not gonna
is
stop.
the
Just let
knowledge
him
of
finish.
the
No.
deeper like knowledge regarding how mutations work at a like chemical basis. I'm not telling you to trust me. I am telling you there are experts that are better
Okay.
communicators at that than I am.
All right.
I am
All right.
telling
I
you
won't trust you then.
that I've already given you. So yeah, you don't need to
I won't
trust me on
trust
like
you.
the individual chemical processes of DNA. So yeah, absolutely. But
I'll tell
you can definitely
yeah.
yeah, you
I'll
already
take your
granted
advice.
that DNA replication occurs under
I
your
grant that
worldview,
I
by the
shouldn't
way.
trust you. Yeah.
You've granted that DNA replication occurs. Like
I-
you somehow haven't provided a good rebuttal
Should I
to
trust you?
mutations. Besides, you don't know like the individual chemical
Should I
processes
trust you on
that.
that?
Are you good?
Should I trust you on that?
Are you good?
Should I trust you on your explanation?
So once again, so like
You just said I shouldn't trust you.
I described
You should.
mutations to my knowledge. I told my debate opponent that I do not know all the individual chemical processes that undergo
But trust me,
create the
bro.
mutation. But now I'm going to get back to the cancer cell analogy because again, he's really wanting to get away from the evolution debate.
Oh,
So
I'm wanting
the
to get
difference
away.
between a normal cell and a cancer cell is that a cancer cell has that like stop replicating DNA strand like it's gone through like through mutations effectively, and those cells just continuously mutate, and eventually those create tumors, and those tumors they act like cells, but they don't really do much if at all for the body, and they just take up the body's resources,
Mhm.
and over time it disrupts other systems within
Ooh.
the body, other organs, and eventually can cause like multiple organ failure, depending on where the cancer started and where it spread.
That's incredible. That's so fascinating. Should I trust you on that?
Yeah, he's not going to engage. That's fine. So, do you have any alternative explanations for how cancer works?
Well, it's not my worldview.
He doesn't.
I'm
He doesn't
agnostic,
have
remember?
He does. He, by the way, he does not have. No,
No,
you
I'm
said you were
agnostic
creationist.
in this
By the
debate.
way, so to the audience,
No, I'm
he does not
pretending that
have a
there's a
creationist
creationist over
explanation
here.
for how cancer works. By the way, which is, and again,
I
like at the
do.
beginning of the debate, he did concede that sorry,
I
not
do
that evolution,
actually.
but creationism has no falsification criteria. He told me that
Uh,
since creation is supernatural, we cannot
does
falsify
trust me, bro,
creationism.
have a falsifiable creation
I already gave you the
element to it?
falsification criteria for everything,
No,
so
you
I don't know
said trust
why.
me, bro. There's somebody else who
I
knows
already
the
gave you the
answer, but I don't
falsification
grant you
criteria
that.
for everything, by the way. I already gave you the falsification criteria. You can circle back to like previous debate topics, but I'm just gonna dunk you on that again. So
You
once
didn't
again,
dunk shit, bro.
I already gave you the falsification criteria for evolution simplicator. I already gave you the falsification criteria for like whether whales changed from land dwelling animals.
Yeah.
And now I can give
Yeah.
you the falsification criteria for cancer
Mhm.
cells. So if you can
Yeah.
provide me an alternative explanation for how cancer cells form that doesn't involve genetic mutation, then that would just disprove genetics, which is a key
No, I'm
component
taking
of
I'm
evolution, of
taking an
modern evolutionary.
agnostic position here. I'm taking an agnostic position where
Do you
I'm
have
just
so do you have any
internally
critiques?
critiquing.
So do you have any critiques that gives like an alternative mechanistic explanation?
No, I'm the
Nope,
agnostic
he doesn't.
position.
All right, cool. So
Yeah, I'm agnostic,
entire
like I said.
cross examination was completely bunked. So
Well, there's no cross examination.
so
You're supposed to.
I've
How
destroyed
can you
you
cross
on
examine
evolution
an
broadly.
agnostic
I've destroyed you
position?
on whether whales evolve, and now
I
I've
didn't
destroyed
take a
you on cancer
position.
cells. And
I didn't take a
yes, you
position,
did.
sir.
You said
No, I didn't.
yes, you
No,
did.
I didn't.
Your position is that creationism
Nope.
is true and that evolution's
Never
false.
said that. I said from the beginning, I'm going to take
You
an
said you're a
agnostic
creationist though, so you
position.
take creationism to be true. That's
Not
we
in
can
this
again
debate.
circle back to the beginning of the debate. Yes, you did.
No, I'm not representing creationism in this
You
debate.
said at the beginning of the debate that you were a
No.
creationist. I'm so
I
sorry.
said, no, that's not
you
what I said. I
explicitly
said that there's
said that
an
you believe that
alternate
God created.
explanation.
You explicitly said that God created all the organisms. So
Yeah.
once again, now you're like backing off of that because creationism is just
No, you
completely
can rewind the
indefensible.
tape.
We spent the entire time defending evolution. Well, not really. We spent part of the time debating evolution and then part of the time debating on whether definitions were objective. And then we
then
went
you
on a
told me
couple of different
trust you.
sidebars. Spike was invoked. Praise be Spike. And then now we're back here. You have no.
And then you told me not to
You have
trust
no you can't contest anything regarding the scientific method and how evolution can be applied there. You have no critiques against cancer cells. Oh, trust me, bro. You have nothing.
That's
you
what
have
you're
absolutely
saying?
nothing. All you're doing is just wasting time. So can you
Well,
provide to me instead a critique of my position that is substantive?
Yeah, that I can't trust you on any of it.
So do you have like any like direct contentions with cancer cells
May I ask,
specifically?
Bones, may I ask you, when you say you don't trust me on this, is it a colloquial usage of the term don't trust me on this?
When I say-
or saying you cannot be trusted in conversation?
So I'm using it in a like very colloquial sense when I mean like the specific details regarding the like chemical processes of evolution. I will not speak on how that happens because I do not have the knowledge on it. Therefore, you cannot trust me to break down the individual chemical processes. You can only really trust me insofar as whether you can verify whether what I'm talking about regarding mutation is broadly true. So something like substitution, deletion, insertion, like you can verify that independently, and so that way you know that I am talking about the same thing when other people are talking about genetic mutations. In this case, but regarding the super duper minutia, no, and I will not speak on that because that's I don't speak on things that I don't have at least a good enough knowledge to talk about for.
So you can't use the necessary defense of evolution to defend evolution?
So you're just not engaging. That's fine. So I told you that you can't trust me on the individual chemical processes that make up like a mutation because I do not have a good enough knowledge
where do we go
to
from here?
communicate about that.
What am I supposed to do? What
you
am
need
I
to provide? You need to provide an alternative mechanism.
No. If
I already gave you the broad breakdown of how cancer
listen,
cells
you're not
occur.
listening. Leaf, if I cannot trust you on how this process happens, what am I supposed to do?
I can't. If you can't, I mean, you just have to provide an alternative explanation.
No,
That can be
if
tested.
I can't? No. I don't. Why do I need
No,
to
no,
do
no.
that? I'm taking that agnostic
Oh,
position.
no. No,
I'm
you said
taking
you're a
an agnostic
creationist.
position.
You
No,
you
not in this
completely
debate.
lost the.
I'm not.
You
I'm
lost
not
the.
arguing. No, dude.
You
Please
lost the
stop
ability
him.
to
He's
claim
not.
to be
I
an
did not
agnostic
come
when you
into
said
this
that you were a
debate
creationist.
saying
You
from
lost
a
the
from a
ability to claim
creationist.
that you were agnostic because you said at the beginning of the debate that you were a creationist.
Is
You
the
hold to
debate
the creationist
creationism
position.
versus evolution? What's the prompt
You
again?
hold the view to be a creationist. You're saying that
The
my
prompt is
worldview is
whether or
false.
not
I
the
need you to either
prompt
A,
is whether
tell
or
me
not
why my world.
evolution is
I need
true.
you to A, tell me why my explanation for why cancer cells form is false and provide
Because
critiques
I
of
can't
that.
trust
Or
you
you need
on
to
the
provide an alternative
process.
mechanism that better describes how cancer cells form.
No.
So can you
don't
do that? Yes or
Oh
no?
my God.
Can
please.
you do that? Yes or no?
You have not
Can
given me
you-
any criteria to do that from. You can't provide it.
So I told you the mechanism by which cancer cells form. It is basically some genetic change in a cell.
Some genetic
deletes
change.
the
How does it
ability
happen?
for
How does it happen?
Cell rep. So it
Don't
stops
just-
the
I'm not
ability
just
for
gonna
cell
grant you
replication
that.
to be.
I'm not just going to
So then
grant you that
okay,
change.
so then
Tell me how it
do
happens.
So then how do cancer cells form under your worldview?
I don't have to.
You don't
I'm not
know.
representing a
You
worldview.
don't know.
I'm
then-
coming from an
you have,
agnostic
so you have no
position.
critique then. You have no critique then.
No, you're not
just
telling
saying
me
nuh-uh.
how it.
Your
saying
your
nuh-uh.
critique of my position is equivalent.
You're saying
to
yes,
nuh-uh.
it just happened.
No,
You're saying it just happened. Yeah.
I gave you the mechanism. I told you the depth to
No, you
which I
didn't.
understand that mechanism, and you're complaining that I cannot go into like basically PhD level.
You
or
can't
not
tell me
PhD
how
level,
it happened.
like
Yeah.
bachelor's of like biology level.
I predicted this in my opening. Remember, I predicted in my
You
opening
predicted that
you would
I
not be
couldn't
able.
wait. So you said
Yeah.
that evolution couldn't be falsified here. You said that I couldn't falsify evolution, that I couldn't prove it to be true. Not that.
Well, you can't even.
I can't
How do you
explain to the
falsify
depths
it
of which
if you
you
can't
think
even
is
get it through the
sufficient.
scientific method
Mutations.
first?
I already
You can't
did.
even. No, you need to get
Already
it
did. So
all
do you
the way
want,
through.
do you want
You
me to
got
go? So
stuck on step
he
4.
thinks I forgot the debate, though. He thinks I forgot
You're
earlier parts of the
stuck
debate.
on step
I went
4.
through how a certain instance of evolution with regards to whales follows the scientific method. He hasn't provided any like substantive critiques of it. He just wants to quibble about definitions. Even though he said that
Wow.
it was going to be an internal critique of my worldview, by the way. So he's like completely all over the
Yeah.
place. In fact, I think he's like geographically
Oh,
lost.
you
at
want me
this
to go
point,
back to your
as well.
worldview?
I mean,
go
you
back to
seem to
your
like not.
worldview?
You seem to like not like adhered to it anyways. Like you're not even
No,
internally
I'll adhere
consistent
to
when
it,
it comes
sure.
to that.
You want me to do that again? I'll adhere to it. Subjective
Again,
definitions? Sure. I'll adopt that.
And again, he's just gonna go back to the meta. So once
No,
again,
that's
we're
what
gonna
you
go
want to do. That you want to go back to subjective definitions. We can go there again. That
No,
was fun
you
the
seem
last
to want
time.
to.
You want to
So
do it
you seem
again?
to want to, and you also wanted to like pop back to an earlier point in the topic. So once again, I'm just gonna go over the scientific
you're
method and an example of which
okay.
can be found within
He's gonna
evolution.
filibuster
The
again. Here comes the
evolution
filibuster.
of is it a filibuster to
is.
talk about evolution
There's
in
a filibuster.
this previous
Yeah.
part of the debate that you didn't
Go
understand?
over the
That's fine.
thing. He keeps explaining the thing.
So going
And
through
then
the
I get to
scientific
the
method.
part to how did that happen?
Observation.
And he can't explain it. He just says, "Don't trust me."
I cannot explain to you the minutiae of mutation.
Nobody
I cannot
can.
explain to you the absolute minutiae of mutations.
Nobody can. What makes
Nobody
what grant?
can.
No,
Yeah,
I don't think
I
so.
don't
Nobody
grant
can.
you
because
to prove.
nobody can.
You're telling me that I got to trust you that
sufficiently
somebody can.
describe. So because nobody to you can sufficiently describe every single minutia of mutation down to every single thing, because there's some limit to the knowledge that the humanity has with regards to mutation.
Correct.
It cannot be falsified.
Yeah, makes
That's
it
your position?
incoherent. Yeah, it makes it incoherent.
Okay, so an incoherency would just mean that like there's some sort of like logical like inference
Yeah,
that's
it's a
like
special.
going to be
It's a
invalid.
special pleading fallacy. Yeah.
So the response that scientists would give is that we don't know with respect to some edge case within evolution.
So it's not a scientific theory.
So wait, no, that's what?
Saying I don't know is not a scientific theory.
Saying I don't know is just intellectually honest with respect to certain things.
So you don't know how evolution happened.
That's not the position. I told you I don't know how the individual chemical processes of mutation occur.
Oh, so you don't know how
I'm like
evolution
really
happened.
so I'm really like
That's how
confused here.
evolution
So-
happened, right? Isn't that how
So,
evolution
okay.
happened?
So wait. So are you saying that like we can't know anything if we don't have absolute knowledge of it?
You can't know what you don't know.
So once again, I'm just going to answer the or ask the question. So, can knowledge only be obtained if it's absolute?
I don't know what you mean by that.
All right, cool. So he's not going to answer that because
What's
it's just
absolute?
completely
What does
it
absolute
completely
mean?
demolishes his worldview. By the way, because if he
What
says
does
yes, then
absolute
like we
mean?
can't know
No,
anything.
because
And
you
if he
said
says no, then
you said
and then if he
definitions
says
are
no, then
subjective. I
wait,
need
so
to know what
hold
absolute
on,
means by your
whoa
definition.
there, Buster, whoa there, Buster. So if he says yes, by the way, that just means that we can't know anything for certain. He would have to give an argument
That's
for
your
that.
worldview.
And if no, and I'm sorry.
That's your worldview.
I'm
So,
sorry, you're complaining
definitions
about
are
I'm so
subjective
sorry, you're complaining about me interrupting you. Are you okay?
because you
Are
keep
you
on
okay?
you keep
So
on getting
are
it
you
wrong.
so are you gonna
I
are you gonna
addressed
continue to
this
interrupt me,
already.
or are you gonna let me like speak here? Because you were
Again,
complaining all debate about how I interrupted you, but now when it comes to shove, now you're interrupting me.
don't
So great.
filibuster then.
I'm so glad that we can now begin to respect each other. So if he says yes to this question, then he has to prove that we can know anything for certain to an absolute extent. And if he says no, then he just grants my position that not knowing certain things outside of our current scope of knowledge doesn't mean that we don't know anything. So like,
Well, I don't know
I don't know. Like,
scientifically how God
I
created
don't
all the
understand why
creatures
you don't
on
want to
Earth
answer these
either.
things. I understand why you don't want to answer these questions because it like pigeonholes you into a position that you don't want to hold
Well,
because you
hold
don't want to
on.
hold like really difficult positions like this.
But
So
earlier
I'm more
you
than willing to
hold on.
tell you the limits to my
You're being a
knowledge.
hypocrite
You
right
do
now.
not. You are not.
No, you're being a hypocrite right now because you
Wait,
berated
how am
me
I being a
earlier.
hypocrite?
Because
How am
you
I being a
berated
hypocrite?
me
Let's hear it.
because I'll answer you if you really want me to.
Go for it.
Because you berated me earlier about how I can't prove through the scientific method how God created all the life on Earth. And now you're crying to me this whole time that it's unfair that you don't know how the mutations
All
that
right.
created the source that are the very source of evolution, you don't know how that happened. And you're crying to me
You
about
have
that
no alternative
after you
mechanism.
berated me. After you yeah, God just created
You
it
have
there.
okay, God just created it. Can you like
Yeah.
can you provide a falsification here for that?
What do you mean? It just happened.
Okay, great. So I already told you the falsification for mutations.
It just happened.
It's just that parents' DNA is going to be the same as daughter DNA. That's how you falsify the concept of mutations. I don't know why again you're contesting the idea that mutations occur.
But you don't know
This
how
to me is just
you
like
don't know how they
this to me
occurred.
is like really crazy. It's like really
Explain how they
insane.
occurred. Explain how the mutations occurred.
I already did several times over.
No,
So
you
once
didn't.
again,
You just said
so
that
once
they
again,
happened. You didn't explain
Stop and
how
let
they
him.
happened.
Well, stop and let him.
So once again, because KungFuJoe just is like completely concussed on this, just through the process of DNA replication, there is some deviation from the parent and the to the daughter in this case, whether it be through substitution, whether it be through deletion, whether it be through insertion. It doesn't matter. It's just some change from parent to daughter. And that is how genetic mutation occurs here. So once
there's
again, I'm
always
going to hand this
changes,
back.
right?
I'm going to hand this back over to him, and he's going to strawman me again. Watch.
Are there always changes from two parents to a kid to an offspring?
Yes, necessarily through
There are always
meiosis
changes.
and
So
through
how do
like
you know?
sexual reproduction.
So how do you know which of those changes are a mutation versus just the DNA recoding correctly?
Okay, perfect. That's great. So we can take sequences from both parents in this case, and it should be the case that 50% of the DNA is coming from the father and the 50% is coming from the mother in this case. But instead, what we see is not a clean 50-50 split, but in fact, there's some sort of like change that it cannot be explained by either parents, but can be explained through some sort of a change through DNA replication errors.
Wait, how do you know but you didn't answer my question. How do you know that the difference in the offspring wasn't just pre-coded in the DNA versus a diversion from the DNA?
So once again, I'm just going to explain this. So you can take the genomic sequencing of both parents, and you can also genomically sequence the child. In this case, what you would find is that in an ideal world where mutation does not occur, you would see 50% of the genome being the father's, 50% being the mother's. In this case, we do not see that. Mutation would be proven true if we see that not exactly 50% is the father's, not exactly 50% is the mother's, and instead there's some sort of like some non-zero percentage that cannot be explained by either parent. So once again, that provides
What's
a
the case for
falsification
that?
criteria for mutations. What?
What's the case for that?
So I can just go to cancer cells once again.
So a cancer cell is the result of the mother and father's DNA.
Oh, yeah,
not
sorry. No. I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about mutations in general.
No, you're
So,
given.
there's actually a case right here. So, like sickle cell anemia.
No,
Basically,
you were giving the mother the mother the
yeah.
offspring.
I'm giving you
example.
I'm giving you a different example. Sickle cell
Oh,
anemia. So we can have one parent that doesn't have sickle cell anemia and another parent that does. What results is sometimes that the kid can end up having either some variation of which through like the allele frequencies, like dual punch square, et cetera, you find that the child is has blood that is sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Resistant to like sickle cell anemia in this case.
and
I
so
can
what? So how does that answer my question of how do you know it's a mutation, like not meant to be versus meant to be by?
maybe it
still
wasn't
don't.
maybe it was not the best example actually. So I can give a different example then. So let's say that two parents have like different and give hypothetical here. So let's say that we have parent A that has brown hair, and let's say parent B has blonde hair in this case. Why not? And it would be the case that they have like the genes for brown hair and they have the genes for white hair, and at some point it ceases, or at some point through the DNA replication process, that the child does not have the gene for like either brown or white hair in this case, or blonde hair in this case, but instead ends up creating like a black hair offspring. And that would be some sort of change. Another example of this would actually be like the peppered moths that occurred in like London.
But hold on,
So
what is
around,
what is the point of what was the point of that demonstration that you just laid out?
basically that mutation causes like a different outcome, basically.
But what if both parents have a recessive gene from their parents where one of them had black hair?
In this case, they do not have that.
How do you know?
Through in this hypothetical, just through genetic sequencing.
But in the hypothetical, you're operating under the evolutionary worldview that we all share a
Yeah.
common ancestor.
And under the worldview that mutations also occur too. You realize that, right?
Right, but what I'm that's the thing in question, right?
Ugh.
Is the thing in question is the mutation. So I'm asking you, if we come
So-
from a common ancestor, if we come from a common ancestor, that means that it would be necessary that the parents would likely have a grandparent or great grandparent or something further back in the line that does have black hair, and that would explain for the like a recessive gene to come arise in the child, and we see black hair.
Not necessarily. These the mutations mutations can like occur and not propagate
Hold
elsewhere.
on, what's the difference between a recessive gene and a mutation?
So a recessive gene and a mutation just refers to a change in genetic code. A recessive gene just means that it's like
Yeah, but I'm asking you,
it doesn't
how do
necessarily
you,
mean that it's like infrequent, but it's basically the frequency of that gene specifically is going to be less frequent than a
I'm
dominant
asking
gene.
you, how do you know? How do you tell them apart? How do you tell apart when
How
the
do I
kid
tell
has
them
black
apart?
hair? When the kid has black hair, how do you know it's from a recessive gene versus a mutation?
Because it would not resemble any of the present genes for hair color.
Present genes in who?
So to simplify this, so we have the brown hair gene. Let's say that that's a dominant gene, and then we have a blonde hair gene, which is recessive. In this case, the existence of a black hair gene would just be a mutation because it does not represent the currently existing.
Well, that's an assertion. That's an assertion
I
because
just
it goes
this is
against the
of course,
evolutionary
this is
theory.
How so?
because because if we all come from a common ancestor, that would necessitate that we all have an ancestor with black hair.
So no, that actually does not follow. So all the common
What?
ancestor says is that like at some point there in the like hierarchical structure, we eventually arrive at like some sort of common ancestor where we share like a large percentage of our genes. It does not necessarily assume that we have 100% similarity to the ancestor.
What
What
So again,
color
this is
was
just like
Genghis
it's a
hair?
fundamental misunderstanding of mutations in general. Of course, we're going to be different
Hey, not you,
from
Leaf.
our
Hold on,
ancestors.
calm down. I got you. What color was Genghis Khan's hair?
I don't know.
Well, he was Mongolian, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What
So
typically?
so are you telling me that
Leaf?
reality is different from my hypothetical?
Well,
Is that
hold
where
on.
we're gonna go with?
Leaf is actually an expert in this. What color was Genghis
So
Khan's hair, Leaf?
He was bald and
Since he is
beautiful, just
Mongolian?
like me.
Look, before
Base, there you go.
when you were
So
when you
so
were
are
a
we gonna
young
get back to
leaf,
that
a
hypothetical?
young little leaflet, what color was Genghis Khan's hair?
If he's
Black,
like me, I would assume black.
So-
if he's like me,
Black,
it's
okay.
blonde,
Wait, so
red.
So what? Hold on. So what percentage?
So wait, the
hold
critique
on,
of
so
my
what
hypothetical.
percentage
Wait.
of-
So the critique of my
hold on.
hypothetical, by the way, is now going to be, oh, but we do have black hair. So in this case, so Joe,
So how
did you eat breakfast this morning?
did you
So Joe, did you eat
no.
breakfast this morning?
No, I didn't. No.
So if you did eat breakfast this morning, would you feel any different?
If I did, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you understand what the hypothetical is. So going back to the hypothetical now. So
Okay.
a mutation, we would know that a mutation occurs and how it would show in any not phonology, but it would show like how we would know that it would show up on the like daughter or son or whatever is that we have the black
understand the
hair, we have the
stuttering,
brown
don't
hair
worry.
gene, we have the blonde hair gene, and the black hair gene does not resemble either of those genes,
Okay.
but instead a new
Um,
gene.
Yeah. So
Which
what
would just
pers-
expand the Punnett square, but
according to genealogy, what percentage of today's population is can be tied back to Genghis Khan?
I'll say like maybe 5-10%. I don't know.
Really?
Oh, let's check that out. Let's see if that's true.
I don't know. I don't know the exact like amount of people that could be
Well,
tied back to Genghis Khan. It could
I
be a third too.
do. Let's see. What percent of today's humans are a descendant of Genghis Khan?
It's 0.5%.
Oh, you're right.
It's
Yeah,
0.5.
you're right. Just 5%. Yeah, it's
All right, cool.
pretty big population.
From one man, right? So that's a lot of black hair in genes and recessive genes. And if we all
Yeah.
came from Africa, right? Like that's what it posits. Do you believe that human life began like in Africa or some centralized continent?
So I believe like one of the ancestors to the Homo sapien probably originated from Africa. Maybe the Homo sapien also originated from Africa as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I didn't evolve in Africa, but maybe Leith did. I don't know. Well, but so what do you think? Yes or no? Is it did we all evolve out of Africa or
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So when you're on the
human
equator,
ancestors have ties back to Africa originally. Yes.
yeah. So when you're living on the equator, what features are you going to most likely have as a conditioning for like millions of years being in that temperate zone? Being in
maybe the
environment.
increased access to like a direct sunlight, you could see like a higher amount of melanin pigmentation. Maybe due to the environment, you would also be able to. I know in certain environments, there's in mountainous environments actually sometimes there are people who are able to breathe who need less amount of oxygen to be able to run around, which makes them better for like running. Which is why you see
color
like
hair would
people
they
like
have
Jamaica,
in a
Nepal.
sunny environment? No, but we didn't evolve in Jamaica.
Yeah. And I'm just giving you like examples of like, minor differences in Yeah.
No, that's fine. I'm just asking a
Gene
line of
expression.
questioning. So if we all
But
start, if we all
yeah,
began,
I'd probably imagine that the predominant like hair color would probably be black
black, right?
to
Okay, so
so
we
it would
all
absorb
have
the most heat.
we all have ancestors with black hair.
Yeah,
Okay, so your hypothetical
probably at some
sucks.
point. My
Yeah.
head. So you, holy, this is really where we're at.
Man,
Your
this is
hypothetical is a
bad. This is
hypothetical
a
and
sad
not
night for evolution,
100%
everybody.
consistent with reality.
This
God
is
damn it, you
terrible.
got me.
This
You
is
got
terrible.
me. The
Oh, man.
hypothetical is not
Damn.
100% consistent with reality,
It
and is in
doesn't
fact
doesn't
just
align.
an
It doesn't
analogy
align.
that describes
Oh,
mutations.
it's an analogy that doesn't
Whole-
align with the evolutionary worldview? No way.
Wait, no, it does. What?
It does, but the evolutionary worldview posits that we all have ancestors with black hair.
So what was the point of my hypothetical? I'm so curious if you tracked that
Your
at all.
hypothetical was trying to prove something happens within evolution without
What
positing
was
the
that
realities
something?
of evolution.
What was that something? What was that something?
That we could have a gene variation that results in black hair, even though neither parents has black hair, but you
Yeah.
leave out,
Oh, so you
you
do
leave out
understand that.
so you leave out
So-
the
so what was the
possibility
point
of
there?
recessive genes.
So what was the point there?
The point there was you couldn't
That there's a
delineate
possibility.
that you couldn't delineate between a random mutation and recessive gene.
Oh, I told you the indicators for what a recessive gene would be versus a mutation.
In the black hair example, what was it?
Yes, so the black hair would resemble a gene that is neither the recessive gene nor the dominant gene.
So what's the what how would you tell it apart from a recessive gene versus a mutation?
By looking at the genetic sequences that make up the hair color genes.
And that will tell you whether or not it's random or recessive?
So that will tell you whether it is occurring due to a mutation or whether it is occurring due to the parents providing the genetic material.
How does it tell you that?
So once again, I just told you this earlier, but we can go over it again. So the mutation gene would not resemble the dominant gene, nor would it represent the recessive gene, but instead it would be a different
How do you know
genetic
that?
sequence.
It would have a different genetic sequence, but the
So,
offspring already has their own genetic sequence. But the offspring already has its own individual sequence.
Okay, I just told you how to differentiate it within this hypothetical. Can you repeat it back to me?
Yeah, you said you would look at that it wouldn't match up with supposedly the recessive gene or the parents' genes, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling
Okay.
you how you know that.
Oh, okay. So you do understand that. I told
I'm asking you how
you
you
asked
know
me
that.
how I would be able to differentiate that.
I'm
How would I
asking
know
you
this? You just take a genetic sequence. You take a genomic sequence of both parents and the child, and you find that exact gene, and you observe.
You find what exact? Hold on.
So you take the genomic sequence. So you take the genomic sequence of parent A and parent B and the child. You would find the hair color gene. You would see that the hair color genes are not resembling either the dominant or the recessive gene in this hypothetical. It would be a different sequence with respect to those two. What's the proof that you just...
What's the proof of that?
You review the genetic sequence of that gene. You review the DNA sequence. I don't know how to explain this any better.
How do you determine that it's random versus a recessive gene if you don't have access to the recessive genes before they occur?
You're conflating mutation with random. Oh, this is again. This is just so weird.
God. Wait, mutations aren't
so
random?
Weird.
Mutations aren't random?
I just told you they are not truly random.
Whoa, what does
I already
that mean?
I already gave you what I meant by random.
That's a contradiction.
So what I mean by random in this case, just
you're violating the law of identity.
Events
that's
or
illogical.
Data sets lacking recognizable patterns. In this case, none of the data would correlate with anything else.
What's the law of identity?
That a thing is itself.
That a thing is itself?
Yes. And in terms of
propositions,
that P is logically equivalent to P, and it can't be anything else.
Like P can't be A, right?
P can't be A unless A is the same claim as P.
Okay, so do you remember what I asked you?
You asked me what the law of identity was, and I just told you
Yeah,
that P is P.
right. So either it's random or
P
not
just
random.
represents to me a proposition. That's it.
Right. So it's either got to be P or not P. It can't be both, right?
So that's not what the law of identity states.
It would, bro.
The
You
law
just
of
said it
identity
to me.
states that P is P. What you're
P
referring
is
to is a
P.
different one.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So random can only mean random. Either something is random or not random.
Oh, I thought you were just asking me for a definition of random that I was using. So yeah.
Oh, we're going back to the subjective definitions again.
And he's gonna crash out again. That's great.
Oh,
He's gonna
my
crash out. He did
goodness.
it
Here we
again.
go.
He
we
found
got
a way to
3
pivot off of the
subjective
topic of
definitions
evolution once
again.
again.
Great.
Let's fucking
great,
go.
great,
Let's fucking
great,
go.
great. So
This
you're
is
violating the law of
incredible.
identity. You're violating the law of identity. Special pleading again. 3 times
by
special
defining
pleading.
a word.
No, you didn't define it. You're saying it's random and not random at the same time. You're like randomness equals random and not random at the same time.
Oh, you thought I was contradicting myself? Holy shit!
That is a contradiction.
I didn't know.
It can
I didn't
either
know
be
you were
one
like
or the
this.
other.
You might actually have Alzheimer's. Like you
You
might
just said
actually
P
have
and not
Alzheimer's.
P, right?
Mistake. Holy shit.
So it's either random or not random. Which is it?
You completely forgot what I meant by
Wow,
random
dude,
in this case.
you're so
like
you're so
I
coping
said the
so hard.
definition of random
You're
2
crashing
minutes
out
ago.
so
By the
hard.
way,
What's the
I'm not.
definition?
I promise
Okay,
you.
it's
The
either
only
random or
reason
it's
why you
not
think I'm
random.
crashing out
So to
is because
clarify,
I'm laughing at you.
say you have a dice that has
Dude,
20 sides on
with
it. The
your
20
subjective
sides,
definitions.
each of the 20 sides is put into a random position. If you roll that dice, can you get a 38?
How many does it
And-
say again?
It's a 20-sided die. If you roll it, can you get a 38?
No.
If it were truly random, you could get a 38. But because it's only randomized in the numbers you can get, it is random, but it is not truly random.
But you can't predict the outcome. That's what random means.
That randomness in statistics just means that there's no recognizable pattern. That no data
Yeah,
set
random.
or that
That's what
no
it means.
data points in a data set correlate with each other.
You can't predict it. Yeah. Unpredictable.
Yeah. So then wait.
Random.
So then we agree on what true randomness means, right?
Unpredictable.
Now, unpredictable, that can describe a chaotic system. Actually,
it's
no,
something...
I'll look that back. Unpredictable would just no. I'm being honest. A chaotic
floundering
system
bad,
can
man.
be
Yeah, dude.
it can be described by like a certain equation to some degree, but you would then end up having it. The reason why a chaotic system has like different outcomes is a result of the like initial conditions.
Dude.
So that's why I backed off of that, because a chaotic system can be predicted. You just need the initial conditions to predict the movement. But going
about
back
with-
to like
Yeah, how about with the mutations that cause changes that lead to evolution? Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to prove that they were like truly random, which means that
I'm
any
asking you.
mutation, it would
You're
have
the one
to.
defending. You're the one defending
So-
evolution.
Well, he's answering you.
So
though.
I'm saying that randomness just refers to like a set of occurrences that has no ability to be predicted whatsoever. That it's truly random. What I'm
Okay.
saying is that because true randomness is a theoretical concept that does not have any backing, I cannot say that mutations are truly random.
So they're not random.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so
And my
mutations
usage,
aren't
yes.
random. Okay. So what's the opposite of random?
It would probably be like planned. Let's say that.
Be what?
I would
Planned?
say
Designed?
planned. Yeah.
Designed?
Either word could work in this case. It
Yeah.
would be up to you to prove that there's some
Like a floor plan
des-
for building a house, right?
it would be up to you to prove that there's some sort of design here with mutations.
Well, hold on. Well, the logical deduction here leads to that due to the answers to the questions I'm asking you.
I'm saying that there could be like some ability to correlate the data with mutations, that there could be some way
But you don't know
to
that.
determine.
You don't know that for sure.
It is up to you to prove whether it is either A, truly
You're
random, or
assuming
B,
that.
like completely planned.
I
No, I'm
have
just
to
saying it could be the
prove.
case.
I have to prove that your assumption is false.
No, I'm telling you that. Well, first off, you'd have to tell me
It's your
whether like
assumption, dude.
you would have to argue that true randomness does exist if you think that mutations are random.
Well, we're talking about
If you're using like
definitions
random
here.
in like the colloquial sense, then like maybe we could move forward there.
Okay, so okay, so you're bouncing all over the place. First, you're saying it's random. It's not random. It's
I'm like
random.
trying
It's
to
not
offer you an
random.
olive branch after like beating you over the head with
Yeah.
the
Oh,
rhetorical
you've
belt.
been beating me so bad. Yeah. You.
I completely
I'm
agree.
I'm stammering and stuttering and telling me you trust me, bro, and I'm making special pleading
I
fallacies. But
you know what?
you're
That is like a
you're the
very
juggernaut
accurate
here, right?
that is a very
Yeah.
accurate description of the debate, KungFuJoe.
I
We can just go
know.
back in to previous parts of the debate where you A, either diverged, B, failed to understand anything, C, I've been teaching you literally everything, D, you still haven't proved how my whale example
Mhm.
deviated from the scientific method, and now again we're on like whether
I
mutations
did.
are random. I told you my usage of the word random. Either you can
Your
grant that, or
usage.
we can go into like a
Your
colloquial sense of
usage.
randomness.
I just need to understand what it means if I'm going to use it.
So when I refer to random, I mean like
Yeah.
true randomness, meaning that the outcomes of events are completely unpredictable.
Okay, so it's like an accident.
Basically, R squared equals 0 in statistics.
So it's just like an error, an accident.
It would just be complete. In this case, it would be white noise. The data set would create white noise.
Okay, so
There's
there's no
there's no pattern to the data at all. R
uh-huh.
squared would be 0.
Okay,
This is in
so
statistics. The true best fit line would not exist in this case. That's what I mean by R squared equals 0.
so it's random.
If you want me to say random is random, then
Yeah. So it's completely
but that's not useful.
it's accidental. Well, it's not. It's not. I
I
agree that the way you're using
I
language
already
isn't
told
useful.
you my usage of random. Yeah,
Yeah, it
that
means completely
no outcome,
unpredictable, right?
that the outcome of events cannot be predicted at all.
Not be
So
predicted.
if you give
Okay.
if you give some equation in this case and some set of initial conditions, that it will never be able to predict the outcome.
I see.
In this case,
Could
it
I
would be
ask you a question?
yeah.
What is the like? Do you believe we descended from apes?
Yeah, no, it is of my opinion that we descended from I believe great apes. Yeah, exactly.
Great apes. Okay. So
So
you
like we can go up the ladder here. So we go from like hominids
just yes or
to
no? No,
African
that
apes
I
to
don't need
great
to.
apes to apes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
is Michelle Obama a great ape?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the fact that she descends from great apes,
Mhm.
the same fact that I descend from great apes.
Okay. Is Leith here a great ape?
Yes.
Okay.
All of us are great apes.
Yeah.
If
We'll
you're
get
in
you some
the
bananas,
if
Leith.
you're in the category of Homo sapiens, then guess what? We are all
Oh.
great apes.
Got it. Okay. Just
And is
clarifying.
this your like new tactic to like
No, I'm just
claim that
clarifying.
what I'm saying is absurd? Is this it?
No, it's not. It's not absurd at all by your worldview,
Like
right?
this
Leith is an ape, and Michelle Obama is an ape.
Yes, a great ape, correct.
Yes, great ape. Great. I do
Yeah,
agree with you
absolutely.
that Michelle Obama is a great ape. She's got some broad shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under taxonomy, yes.
I'm glad we could agree there. That's our first point of agreement tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take
Okay.
so if you take
Awesome.
taxonomy, wait. So if you take taxonomy to be true, then yeah, so you're just granting a branch of evolution. Then good.
Yeah,
You're granting
great.
that taxonomy
Cool.
can be used to prove evolution, which is
Yeah.
perfectly fine. That's another concession on your end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are all black people apes?
In the same way that all white people are apes, all Asian people, Mexican people, Latinos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
How
all
about
Homo
all black
sapiens,
people?
all Homo sapiens are great apes.
How about all black people?
All black people are Homo sapiens, therefore they're great apes.
So all black people are apes?
So based off of the hypothetical syllogism, so premise P,
Just
all
yes or
black
no.
people are Homo sapiens. Premise
No.
2 is going to
Yes
be
or
all
no is
Homo
fine.
sapiens. So hold on. So premise 1, all black people are Homo sapiens. Premise 2, all Homo sapiens are great apes. Conclusion, all black people are great apes.
Take that, Lee.
So I want you to if you take any issue with that, I'd like for you to contest one of the claims here.
You know what? I think some would, but I'm not going to quibble with you. It's fine. I'm agnostic, right?
I think most people understand my usage of it when it relates to
Okay.
taxonomy. If you want
Sure
to
they
conflate,
do.
if you want to laugh because you're conflating the usage, that is perfectly fine.
Okay.
I can like put it in writing too. Like this
Yeah.
is
Oh, please write it down for all of us to see. Yeah. Put that into a
absolutely.
syllogism. Put it up on the board. Leith, you want to put it, maybe make
Actually,
it
you know
into a
what? Sure.
poster
1 second.
for your room. Yeah. Okay, cool.
They already have
Hey,
that.
I got
second.
another. Yeah.
All right, I'll get out the notepad for this. Actually, sure.
I got another question.
So wait. You said you wanted me to put it on the notepad. I'm going to put it on the notepad for you. So
I
one
mean,
second here.
you could do that while I ask you another question, right?
No. I'm going to put it on the
No?
notepad for you real
You
quick.
can't
I'm so
multitask?
sorry.
Oh,
I can only do one thing at a time. I'm so
Figures.
sorry. I'm like
I
really
know.
stupid. So like, yeah,
You're
I'm
a
just
lower
gonna
ape,
put it on
right?
the note. Huh?
Yeah. You're a lower ape?
No, I'm a great ape. As it
Oh.
relates to taxonomy.
I see.
So let me move this out of the way. Oh, right. Perfect. I've got that up. And then share screen. Where is it? All right. Perfect. So now I've got it up for the Discord call. So now time to write my syllogism here. So premise 1,
Can't wait.
all black people are Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
1 second here. Bring it up to 1 line. That way it looks a little better. Perfect. All right, cool. Fixing that on my stream too. So, hold on. I'm going to maintain the format here. So premise 2, conclusion here. Premise 2, all Homo sapiens are great apes. So conclusion,
I disagree, but
all black people are great apes. So yeah, which premise do you disagree with?
oh, I'm agnostic. I'm just taking you at your face
wait, so
value.
hold on. So you don't disagree with any of the premises, then the conclusion must follow. So not only is this syllogism valid, it is also sound. So you just conceded that all black people are great apes. Congratulations.
I actually know a lot of people that would contend with P2, but I'm agnostic personally.
Oh, you're agnostic? Okay. So
Yeah.
do you want to contend with P2?
No, I'm agnostic. I can't contend with P2.
So okay, so then you don't deny that it's true. Gotcha.
Well, I have no position. Yeah.
So you have no position that all Homo sapiens are great apes. You just don't know whether that's
Nope.
true or false.
Nope. I'm just investigating your claim.
Aren't you a creationist?
Not in this debate.
If you say no, not in this debate. So you did admit
Nope.
that you're a creationist earlier. So creationists do have a position on this. Can you tell me the position?
Oh, from the creationist point of view, I guess.
Yeah,
they
from your
would
point of
say-
view, because you're a creationist, absolutely.
Well, no, I'm not representing that in this. For the purposes of this debate, I'm taking an agnostic, secular position. Yeah.
Agnostic, secular position.
Yeah, I've been making
really?
secular arguments all night. I've been making secular arguments all night.
You've been making retarded arguments all night. That's for
They're
sure.
all
But
secular.
anyways.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Says
since you don't contest either premise 1 or premise, since you don't contest premise 1 or premise 2, then you also have no position. So yeah. In conclusion, all black people are great apes. Absolutely.
I'll take your word for it. Leith?
Gotcha. All right. So guess what? So now that you've basically proven by that extension implicitly that taxonomy is true. So yeah, once again, evolution proven true.
I grant you nothing. I'm just trusting your word.
Oh, so you don't? Okay, so then you don't grant this. So would you like to contest one of the premises?
No, I'm just.
Okay. So no, you don't want to. you don't want to contest the premises,
Oh,
but
wait,
also
should I
like
not trust you?
you don't grant my argument. Got it. So
It
when you
depends.
don't
It
grant my argument,
depends.
that means you have a contention with one of the premises. So do you have a contention with one of the premises? Yes or no?
Well, it depends. Can I trust you?
Well, so no, this is just your position. Do
No?
you contend with any of the
Oh,
premises?
wait. You told me not to trust you earlier.
And he's not going to engage again.
Oh, man. Dang.
You're like,
I'm
you're addicted
agnostic,
to
like
just
I
not
said.
engaging. You're addicted
I'll
to
take
not
your word.
engaging with any of the
Look,
arguments. So you
I'm just
okay?
taking
So
your
you
word for
taking me
it.
at
What
my
do you
word is
say? What do you
granting.
mean?
You taking me at my word is granting.
Sure,
So
I'll
you just
grant it
granted
to
that
you.
taxonomy
Yeah.
is true. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So taxonomy is true. Good. All right.
If,
So I
if
have now
that's
won
what
the
you
debate
mean, then
again
yeah.
on this point. So taxonomy can in fact be used as evidence for evolution. Since taxonomy is true, yeah. Since you grant taxonomy is a form of evidence for evolution, there is in fact evidence for evolution.
Yeah.
There's also in
Mhm.
fact falsification criteria because I already
Yeah.
told you the falsification criteria with respect to taxonomy.
Uh-huh.
I've given you all the falsification criteria
Uh-huh.
with respect to individual hypotheses, and now
Uh-huh.
I've given you criteria for falsifying the idea of mutations
Yeah.
as well.
And then you told me not to trust you, though.
I told you not to trust me on the individual processes that create a mutation. Yes.
That lead to those to the very thing that you're
Because
using in your
I don't
argument.
speak about
Yeah.
things that I'm not an expert in, by the way, or that I
Well,
don't have
every
like any
premise
foreknowledge on.
in your argument assumes the thing you can't explain.
Oh,
The
no, I
thing
can
you told me
explain
not
these.
to trust you on.
Oh,
No,
no,
you
I
told
can
me not to
explain
trust you
I can
on it.
explain both premises and the conclusion.
You couldn't explain how we evolved from great apes.
He's gonna dodge again. This is fine.
No,
So yeah, I can
you told
explain.
me
I
not
can
to
explain
trust
both
you on how
premise.
we
I can
become.
explain. I can explain both premise one and premise two. I already explained to you the falsification criteria for
Yeah.
mutation, which you
Yeah.
asked for, by the way. So like
I
all
just
I
wanna
can
know under
determine from
your
this is that you're not
worldview.
all I can determine from this is that you're not a good faith interlocutor because you
No,
are on
I'm
one hand granting my argument that all black people are great apes, which validates taxonomy, but
I'm
also
granting
that
that
you
you
hold
think that.
you hold some position that you hold some contention for my argument as well, which is by the way a
No, I'm
contradiction.
saying
by the
I'm
way.
not
A
sure. I'm saying
performative
I'm
one
not
at that,
sure.
by the way, for those of us that are counting fallacies, by the way.
No, I'm
So
granting
once again,
that
like,
you.
do you have like any position regarding my argument here?
No, I'm agnostic. I'm granting you that you believe that.
So okay, so
I am not
so you're
sure
granting me that taxonomy can be used as
that you
evidence for
believe it.
evolution.
I believe. I
Oh,
believe
you're
that you
granting
believe that.
you're
Yeah,
granting that I believe that this argument is both valid and sound.
I believe that you believe that. Yeah.
Okay, great. So do you have any contention with this argument right here?
No, it's my agnostic position.
No, okay,
that
great.
You believe
So
that
guess
you
what?
believe that.
You don't contend with the argument, so you don't contend the premises. This is a
No, I'm
hypothetical
just asking you
syllogism.
what you think.
Hypothetical syllogisms are valid. They're valid in inference rules. So
Mhm.
guess what? If both my premises are true, you don't contest either premise
That's a big
here.
if, right?
You don't contest either premise. So I don't know why you're like acting like
Well,
you
I'm
can
not
be
granting
like
them either,
ignorant of
though. I'm
formal
not
logic.
granting
By the
them
way,
either.
you're okay. You're not granting them either. So again, like
No.
I can clarify my position if you're agnostic.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
You could
What are you
try.
unclear about? What are you unclear?
I'm unclear on how Homo sapiens are great apes.
So Homo sapiens are just like there's some class of there's some organized class of beings that fall under the category of great apes.
How do you know that?
So there's a broad category of great apes that branches out into several directions, and Homo sapiens are just a branch of that. And this can be
How do you know
demonstrated
that?
by showing the genetic similarity to other great apes.
Yeah,
as
but we
well.
share genetic similarity with everything, right? Like, isn't it logically consistent to say that you're related to a banana?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some genetic material that we share with bananas. Think like 60%, which is way
Mhm.
less than I believe us
Okay.
and other great apes. Say like the
Yeah.
not the orangutan, was the chimpanzee. I think we share like 96% with the
Uh-huh.
chimpanzee, but 60% with the banana.
Yeah. So are you a cannibal?
Am I a cannibal?
Yeah.
What are you using to define cannibal?
Like something that eats its own kind?
Are you saying that? What do you mean by kinds in this case? Actually,
Well,
I
you
need
saying
clarification on that.
we descend from a banana and you eat bananas. Are you a cannibal?
No, I want clarification on kinds, actually, because that's crucial to whether I would be a cannibal in this case.
I gave it to you in my opening on what kinds are.
Yeah, can you remind me what kind is real quick?
Sure. Oh, you want to operate under my Christian worldview of kind?
I want you to give your definition of kind, and I will operate under that. Sure.
Gotcha. Real quick. Nice and accurate for you.
Because I have a feeling that my idea of a cannibal and your idea of a cannibal are going to be completely different. I would just, we'll see. We'll see, actually.
Orthodox Christian view of creation according to their kinds, where God directly forms distinct, stable categories of creatures, each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries, without one kind transforming into another. Now, I don't assume you adopt that.
So yeah,
definition.
what's the definition of kind in there? Can you like define kind here?
I just did it. What a kind is there are life forms, distinct, stable, that fit in distinct, stable categories of creatures, each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries, without one kind transforming into another.
So would humans and bananas be part of different kinds under your worldview?
No, because they cannot change into each other. Like there's no banana into a human.
No, I'm asking you if they're different kinds.
Yeah, that would be like plant kind, and
So-
then we'd be humans. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So would you take, in this case, based off of your definition of kind, would you take cannibalism to mean eating something
Well,
of your own
it's
kind?
the Christian definition. I'm
asking you
agnostic,
for-
yeah.
I'm asking you, would
Yeah.
you take cannibalism to mean eating your own kind?
No, I don't adopt the evolutionary worldview of what
Okay,
a
so I'm
species
at
is, or
okay. So then, what do you take cannibalism to be?
that you're eating something you're related to.
So that how does that relate back to kinds?
Oh, because we're human. We're all humankind. So if I ate another human,
okay.
yeah. Mhm.
So that whole like tangent about you like trying to avoid your own worldview, that was like completely crazy. So
What do you
it
mean?
is accurate to say that cannibalism would mean eating something of your own kind, right?
For me, yeah.
Okay,
A
perfect.
human.
So
Yeah.
so then based off of that worldview, me eating a banana would not be me eating my own kind.
That'd be cannibalism under your worldview.
That would not be cannibalism under your worldview.
Sure it would.
So
But you're not in my worldview.
yeah, great. So I'm going to go back to my worldview now. So I just take
Where's
cannibalism to mean
cannibalism?
so I take cannibalism to mean that I'm eating someone of my own species.
Species are not a scientific fact.
We've already
Species
we've already demonstrated that it's like fuzzy at the
Species, there's no
perimeter,
such thing as species. Yeah, exactly. So you're eating, since you
There
have
is
a
no
common
like
ancestor.
there is no like demarcation line between one species and another, correct?
Basically, you eating anything would kind of be.
But we can't
cannibalism.
tell the difference between like say a chimpanzee and a human, right? Like with pretty good certainty.
I can.
You can. I can also do
I
that
can.
too. I can tell
Oh.
that they're different species. This is
Species aren't
like this is like
objective.
this is the same critique as saying that like obscenity
Species
doesn't
aren't
exist
objective.
because
How are you referencing something that
So-
doesn't actually exist?
so this is like saying that like obscenity laws like don't exist and can never be actioned upon because there's like a fuzzy line between what can be considered obscene and what can be considered free
Yeah.
speech.
It's arbitrary.
It's like you realize that okay, so you realize that we can just kind of like based off of our best
Arbitrarily
guess,
do
we can kind
things,
of
yeah.
arbitrarily.
Yeah.
I mean, kinds are pretty arbitrary too. You won't tell me
Oh,
that.
no,
What are the
they're
boundaries
not.
of a kind? Yeah, what are?
I just
oh,
told
yeah,
you.
what
I
are the
defined
boundaries
it
of
for you
kind?
twice.
What are the
just defined
boundaries
it-
of a kind? What
That they don't
differentiates
change into something
one-
else.
They don't change into something else. Well, what does
Yeah,
that
human
mean?
stays human.
Like they don't like vary at all.
Human doesn't become not human. Yeah.
Well, if there's like in a million years or a few million years, some like descendant of human that could be considered like something else. Yeah, of course, it'll still be human. Human
That sounds
evolution
like
doesn't
science
posit that
fiction.
like humans would turn into dogs at some point. Like if you like, we can go back to like the whale example. Like whales don't just
Actually, you're
under like
incorrect there.
under evolution, whales don't turn into fish. So like
You're incorrect.
I don't know like
If-
where
if
the
you-
I don't know where like demarcation point between our views is then? I don't know what the symmetry breaker is. Can you tell me?
That I don't believe in evolution. I don't believe in common ancestry.
But we both share the view that whales don't turn into fish. And I explained it through evolution.
But
You've explained it through creation,
yeah.
presumably.
So what's the symmetry
So like,
breaker? The
what's the
symmetry breaker
breaker?
is I don't believe that whales came from something not a whale.
Yeah, where do you think whales came from?
I don't know. That's for you to tell me.
Okay. So you don't have any alternative hypotheses. Cool. So yeah.
Oh, I
So,
could there. I could use. I mean, the
so like,
Christians say that God
what kind
created
of
it that
wait?
way.
So I actually have a better
How would
question.
they be wrong?
Where would whales fall under with kinds? Actually,
Would what?
where would whales fall under with respect to kinds?
A sea creature kind?
Sea creature kind, but they behave
Yeah.
entirely differently from fish.
They still live in the sea.
They still live in the sea. That's like the only like. So like
Yeah.
shrimp also live in the sea, and those are like vastly different from fish. Corals also live in the sea.
Yep.
There are
Mhm.
like a sea kelp live in the sea. So like now we have like plant kind and sea life kind of like coming together. Like what's like how do you bring all that together? I'm so curious. How does that come
I
under
told you,
kind?
sea creature.
That's like super vague. So like what differentiates
Yeah.
like between like a sea creature and like a not sea creature?
A land creature would not be a sea creature.
So there are turtles that are both they both live in the water and they also live on land partially.
Mhm. Yeah, that would be like a bi-environmental creature.
So like a bi-environmental kind. Yeah, so like this is just like super weird. So yeah, we have a creature that could be in like both the land dwelling kind and in some type of land dwelling kind and a sea dwelling
Yeah.
kind.
Well, I could go swim in the ocean right now.
So yeah, it just seems to be the case that there's no like a strict demarcation point then. So yeah, it kind of just you're just kind of
I could
arbitrarily
swim
picking
in the
positions
ocean,
here.
but I don't live in the ocean, right?
Yeah, but turtles don't strictly live in the ocean either. We could
Yeah,
go
they
to a
travel
different
in the
animal too.
ocean. Yeah, they
Yeah, they
use
don't
the
strictly,
ocean for
but they don't
travel.
strictly live in the ocean.
No, they travel with the ocean.
Yeah, just like a bird can travel with the ocean.
With flight.
We could also go with like some more amphibious creatures like
Birds
a
travel through
beaver.
the air, right? Yeah.
Birds travel through the air, yes, but
That's right.
some of them also go into the water to get their food. Pelicans
Okay.
being a big example.
Yep.
Cool. So we still haven't figured out like what the difference between like a turtle kind and what a fish sea life kind is at this point.
No, there's kinds and then there's mosaics, which are just their own thing.
Yeah, like what's how do you categorize all that?
A mosaic, like
Yeah.
something that's its own kind.
Oh, so
Like a
turtles are their
platypus?
own kind now? Is that what we're going with?
Oh, I was going to use like a platypus.
Oh, so a platypus is its own kind?
It's like a mosaic, yeah.
So how many kinds are there actually?
There's a lot.
There's a
few
lot.
different.
Okay, cool.
There's a few different categories of kinds.
There's a few different categories of
Wait,
kinds.
hold
Yeah.
on.
Do
Are
you
we
have,
done?
so
Are
how
we
do you,
done with evolution now? Are we done with evolution?
I'm just trying to figure out what your worldview
Are we done
is
with
at this point.
evolution? 'Cause that was the prompt,
I've already
right?
described like taxonomy for you. It's
I've been
hierarchical.
answering your
There's like a
questions,
structure
but
to
we
that.
trailed
You
off
haven't given me
We need to get
you haven't given
redirected
me
back
like
to the
a
prompt.
structure.
You've been
You haven't given me a
complaining
structure
that we
to
weren't on the prompt, so now we're off the prompt.
Yeah,
And
okay,
you
sure.
complained about
Yeah.
it a
So
lot. So,
I
and I did
I
answer
feel
your questions, and you can't say I didn't.
I thought we were done with
So
the
now let's
evolution
go back
debate
to the
because I
prompt. How about
felt pretty
that?
confident
Yeah, I'm
about
gonna
it. Yeah,
say
sure.
we've
do you
been
feel-
doing
Do you have
this
any
for
other-
about 3
Yeah,
hours.
let's wrap.
So
Do you have any other contentions with what I said?
well, I want to
let's
get the
wrap it up.
closing statements on this one. So
Yeah.
in this case, I'm gonna let Joe go, and then I'm gonna let Bones go.
All right, perfect.
So Joe, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, this was disappointing. I thought I would get a higher. I'm used to getting a higher level of engagement where the evolutionary proponent actually agrees with the definitions of words that the evolution, in the way that the evolutionary theory agrees to use them. Not once have ever one of my previous opponents ever made a special pleading fallacy saying that this word means what I think it is, right? So we had a special pleading fallacy for definitions of words. We had a special pleading fallacy for how mutations actually mechanically happen. I asked him how they happened. He said they just happened. He wanted me, he said that, oh, we pride ourselves on science, right? Where we can investigate the process of how things happen. But the one thing, the thing that is the cause of all evolution, I can't tell you how it happens, but trust me, bro, it does. And therefore, my defense of evolution is great. It's really top tier shit here. I mean, this has got to be the worst defense of evolution ever. On top of him telling me I can't trust him, on top of him telling me that, what else? What other contradiction did he do? He violated the law of identity when we tried to go for definitions of random, right? He's like, oh, it's random is random and it's not random. I'm sorry, that's a violation of one law of logic. So, I mean, I don't know. He stuttered and stammered all over the place. He caught himself and had to like change positions on randomness. First he said not random, then he said random. He's been all over the place tonight. So, I mean, it was great getting to dog walk him and body him around and get him to tell you, everybody at home, that black people are apes.
Thank you for that, Joe. And Bones, your closing statement.
So my debate opponent not only admitted that he was a creationist in the beginning, but he actually knows zero, fuck all about evolution. So I provided him the falsification criteria for evolution, as he stated in Discord and as he asked for in the debate tonight. He had no ability to contest the falsification criteria of evolution in general. I moved on to the scientific method, and I provided an example regarding whales. He had no other contentions besides, oh, this is an internal critique, but also I'm going to question your usage of words. He doesn't know what internal critique means. He doesn't understand logic. He also said that hypothetical syllogisms aren't valid at some point, which is really strange because he apparently abides by logic. He lost to Spike the pair of scissors here in terms of the ontological primary being. Going back to evolution, he had no actual contest with my statements regarding whales and how they evolve. All he could produce was that I don't have a full, complete understanding of mutation, which is a terrible ask for anyone who is debating this in general. No one asks for the complete knowledge of a certain topic, only just a sufficient amount of knowledge to get through the debate. So he's coping on that. We talked about cancer cells. He had no explanation for that. I wanted to get into endogenous retroviruses as another way to prove that humans are a descendant of great apes. We never got to that, but I can go into that real quick. There's at some point retroviruses that occurred that went into human, not human, into a just common ancestor sequence, and we find that in chimpanzees and gorillas, et cetera, that we share some X amount of endogenous retrovirus DNA. And that carries all the way over to humans. And that also is a way to prove that we have genetic similarity to them. Just like we can also sequence genomes and find that we're similar to chimpanzees, similar to gorillas, et cetera. He also granted, based off of this syllogism, hold on, there we go. This syllogism right here, that taxonomy can be used as evidence. Yeah. So I'm so sorry. This is my conclusion, sir. Are you interrupting me in my conclusion?
I'm sorry. That was so funny.
You good? So anyways, by this syllogism right here, he granted taxonomy, which is evidence of evolution. So he's basically granted evolution and has spent the entire debate either meta-debating or getting off topic or just trying every single possibility to never just engage with anything I ask for. And it just shows that he's both a dishonest debater. He got completely fucked on every single topic, including the meta, including the rhetoric, including, I don't think he even knows where he is geographically at this point without custody. And we've also proven that KungFuJoe has Alzheimer's.
Thank you for that. So we're going to get a quick Q&A. So if anyone has questions, put them in the chat. So the number one question today, Joe, do you know Kung Fu?
I learned a form of kung fu when I was a kid, and as I got older, I realized that that just centralized fighting system is not great, not the greatest. So I subscribe more to like Bruce Lee's theory of fighting. Kung Fu, all Kung Fu means is a learned or earned skill. That's the true definition.
And then from the chat, is Kung Fu of the same kind?
Kung Fu is more of a Western definition of Chinese martial arts.
Gotcha. So the next question, is there more evidence for evolution or creationism?
Evolution,
There,
obviously. I've provided several evidences. I've provided even evidence in my conclusion as well. Yeah, no, none of which KungFuJoe engaged with tonight, minus the endogenous retroviruses that was at towards the end.
he couldn't explain how the random mutations happen. He just said, "Trust me, bro. I know they happen." But yeah, creationism does have logical evidence.
So, if I may have another word real quick, you've evidence in this case, it's Bayesian evidence. In this case, it would just be like some piece of information that would increase the like correspondence to one certain proposition. In this case, you provided none. In fact, you've even said
That
that
wasn't the debate.
there's no way. You've even said that there's no way to determine whether creationism is true. So there's no way to
Not by the
gather evidence.
scientific
You
view.
haven't even provided any logical like proofs for creationism
You
either.
couldn't
So
prove
like,
that evolution was true through the scientific method because
yeah,
you don't
had no
know how
you didn't
you
contest
don't know
you didn't
how
contest any.
mutations happen. You just said they happen,
So
bro. They just happen, bro.
which part of the scientific method do you think that the whale and the whale example did not go over?
The part where you say that random mutations just
So
happened.
which part? So which part is that?
The part where you said that the
So
random mutation part that changes.
so so is it in the observation? Is it in the question? Research, the hypothesis, the
I
experiment,
believe we
the
got
testing, the
to.
discussion, the results, the summary. What are we talking about here?
I'll tell you where you got tripped up. Let's see. We got to
So this would be in the experiment
the
portion, by the way.
hypothesis. Yeah, no, we got to the hypothesis, and that's where you got stuck.
So where do you think mutations would come into this? Mutations would be demonstrated in the it would be the experiment and then results in this case.
What experiment could you run that passes millions of years and changes?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we would so with regards to DNA, we would be able to find like close ancestors to whales if the
That
DNA
doesn't
existed.
demonstrate that one thing happened. That just
So
shows
yeah,
similarity.
so wait, okay.
That just
Okay,
shows
perfect.
similarity.
So
That doesn't show how one thing changed
so
from to another.
do you know how we can determine whether like two people are the parents of a child?
We have access to the parents. That's the difference.
Okay, great. So do you know like how 23andMe works?
I'm not sure. It's it's limited.
Okay, gotcha. So basically,
Yeah.
how 23andMe works for the audience is that it takes basically the genetic sequence of to both parents and people prior, and it matches them to potential ancestors going back. And it does this by determining the genetic similarity between the parent and the daughter in this case. This is also done for animals that are currently extant or recently extinct, where we have access to DNA material. With respect to the whale analogy, by the way, or not analogy, example here, we don't have DNA evidence of, say, the what's the word, the Pachycetus, but we do have DNA evidence of the Ambulocetus, and we can compare those.
All right. So you just insert the Pachycetus and say, "Trust me, bro."
So the Pachycetus is more so of it's the fossil record basically. It shows similar structures to the Ambulocetus, and the
We only
Ambulocetus
have
similar to.
1%.
I'm so sorry.
We only
Who's
have the
talking?
fossils.
The
No,
Ambulocetus
you
to the
interrupt me
whale.
plenty.
So we go from the whale, which is more aquatic, to the Ambulocetus, which is kind of more of a mix of the two, to the Pachycetus, which is more land dwelling. So we see that in these change in structures from feet to arms, fingers to flippers.
Out of all the life forms that have ever lived on Earth, what percentage of fossils do we have access to?
I don't know if we have a good answer to that.
There is an answer.
Yeah, what's the percentage? I'm curious.
1.
1%? Okay, so like 99% of the fossils have yet to be discovered. I feel like
We
that's like a
cannot
damning thing on your
we
worldview
do
because that
not
just means that
have
there's
access
a
to.
large potential for even more
That's
evidence of
your
evolution. which would-
assertion. That's an assertion. You're asserting.
well,
that.
yeah, because existing
Yeah.
fossil evidence has proven evolution time and time again. So I
No,
don't know
but
why
we
you
only
think
have
like, more
we only
fossil
have
records
access
would
to
help you.
1%. Hold on. We only have
Yeah,
access
I
to 1%.
don't know why more fossil records are going to help you.
No,
Unless
there's
you
no
think that
more.
we're
We
going to
don't
find
have
the
access.
Precambrian. If you think we're
You
going to find the
answered my
Precambrian
question.
rabbit
Oh my
anytime
God.
soon, I invite you to go do that.
Yeah, and that will true. That's when evolution will be true, right?
Evolution will be falsified if we find a Precambrian rabbit.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, yeah, because it would just be like
So
a
if it
rabbit
doesn't
being like a
exist,
different.
that means it's unfalsifiable.
No, it would be evidence against evolution.
But
Already
no,
told.
I'm saying if it doesn't exist in reality, that means
Oh,
it's an unfalsifiable
not existing
claim.
in reality just makes evolution true. Like, yeah.
What? That doesn't follow.
So
hold on.
you admitting
not
that we
engaging
don't
with my
find
question.
Precambrian rabbits just shows that evolution is true and that we can use taxonomy to determine the
Hold on.
the common ancestors of extant creatures.
We only have access to. Do you know what access means?
Yes, absolutely.
We only have access to 1% of the fossils of 1% of all life forms who have ever lived and died on Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how's that evidence for creationism? I'm curious.
You don't have I'm not arguing for creationism. I'm
mean,
critiquing. I'm doing an internal critique
You've
on
been
evolution.
pretending that you're not arguing for it this entire time, but
not.
you
I'm
slipped
not.
up pretty
I'm
early
doing
on.
an agnostic internal critique of
so
evolution.
you know what?
And
You know what? So how
using
does that
secular arguments, and you've done terribly. You've gotten bodied
that
so hard tonight.
under your worldview? You think I did terribly, but like I completely steamrolled you on this. So, anyways,
Sure,
like
yeah.
why would us
Subjective
only being able to
definition,
access
special
one? So why would
pleading.
us only being able to access
All right,
1%
next
of
question,
the
Leith. Next
fossils?
question.
So why would us being
Let's
able
roll it
to
along
access
here.
1% of the fossils be
Roll
evidence
it
against
along.
evolution?
Any more, Leith? Are there any more?
He's not going to answer this,
questions?
by the way, because he's
Are there any
again once
more?
again caught in another thing that he
Right,
cannot
hope.
explain.
Cope. Yep.
So
Yeah.
okay, if it
just
is
like
cope,
the,
if
just
it
like
is
the
cope, then
random
give me the
mutations,
answer.
right?
So wait,
just
if
like
it
the
is cope, then
mutations
give me
that
the
cause
so if it is
evolution
cope, then give me
itself.
the answer. So if we can only access 1% of the fossil record, how is that evidence against evolution? Can you provide that?
You don't have what you need to make the claim
no, he's
that
not
you're
gonna do it.
claiming. Yeah,
He's not
that's
gonna
my
do it.
answer. You
He
don't
says
have
I'm
access
coping,
to
but
the
instead
thing
he
that
has
proves
he has no
that proves
response. He has no response.
I just responded, dude. So bad
He has
faith.
so you haven't demonstrated that that's evidence against evolution. All that says is that the evidence that we do have seems to indicate
I can't
that evolution
prove a
is true.
negative, dude. You can't prove a negative.
You can prove a certain claim to be false.
You can't
If
prove a
it's the
negative.
negation of yeah, so if you take so absolutely, so whales evolved from land living mammals. The negation of that would be
Assertion.
whales did not evolve from land dwelling mammals. So yeah, no, you can prove a
Assertion.
negation by just proving that
No,
whales did not evolve
prove
from
a
land dwelling
negative.
mammals.
How do you
which you
prove a
couldn't do, by the
negative?
way. Which you couldn't do, by the way. And here's how you,
You
prove
don't
it.
have
You just prove
access to the
So
fossils
here's how
you
so
need.
here's how you prove the negative, by the way.
Dude,
so you can just
crazy.
so whales did not evolve from land dwelling
weird.
mammals. That's the
This
negative
is
right
so
there.
done,
You
dude.
prove that
You
by
got so
finding out
kryptonite.
if
This is
whales
embarrassing
evolved
for
from
you.
or if
The
whales
fact
came
that you
from
came up
anything
here
other
so
than land
confident
dwelling mammals.
and you got cooked this hard is so bad for you, dude.
I had to
So
talk a lot
bad.
because I'd explained pretty much everything to you. Of course, I'm going to
It's
talk more
terrible.
because you know absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you had to filibuster and trip over your words a lot because that's what happens.
So filibustering
when
would
you're
imply that I'm like
providing
going
a
off the
terrible,
topic.
a terrible defense of your worldview.
So once again, going back to this, you said that you
You
can't
want to
prove a
stutter
negative.
step
I
some
gave you
more? Jesus,
so-
move them along, Leith. What's
so
the next question?
whereas I'm
Next.
like stuttering if every few words or
Next.
so, you're completely
Dude,
like
you're done. You're cooked.
you've completely
You're so done.
face planted into every single
done,
argument
dude.
that I've given
You're
you.
done.
So once again, whales.
This is.
Here's the
I
here's
feel
the
bad
negative
for you
right
at
here.
this point.
Here's the negative. Whales
I wanna
did
take my
not
boot off
evolve
of your
from
neck.
land-dwelling mammals. How you prove that is by finding that whales came from anything other than a
unfalsifiable claim,
land-dwelling mammal. So the fact that
Hey,
you can't engage with that
how
shows
about-
that not
how about a
you're just
unicorn?
the fact that you cannot engage with that shows that you're just retarded.
I believe a unicorn existed. How am I wrong?
So do you have any evidence for it?
We're going to find it.
Oh, we're going to find it. So you don't have any evidence that it currently exists.
Neither do you for your worldview.
What do you think I don't have evidence of?
You don't have evidence to the other 99% of life forms that lived on Earth.
So again, having gaps in knowledge doesn't mean that we have no knowledge. So once again, this is like saying that if we can't know so by the way, this is just saying that if we can't know
Therefore,
everything for certain,
unicorn.
then we know nothing. Like this is just again like a complete reductio.
So I think
of
a
his
unicorn
worldview.
exists. Yeah.
So yeah, this is just a reductio on your worldview. If
It's
we can't know
logically
everything for
consistent.
so if we can't know everything
that a
for certain, then
unicorn
we know nothing.
exists.
That is the reductio of your worldview. So yeah, like again. So do we know the exact like width of a hair? Do we?
You accept that a unicorn exists?
Do we know? So you're gonna dodge this. So
You
do we
accept
know
that
the
a-
exact?
I just
so
want to get a
do we
concession
know?
here.
So do
You
we
just-
know
I-
the
I
exact
wanna get a concession
width?
based
So
on
do
your
we
worldview.
know? Do we know the exact width of a
Based
hair?
on your
Yes or no?
worldview. I still
So
haven't had my
you're not going to
question.
answer. So once again, you're
You
not
didn't
answering
answer.
this
I asked
because
my question first. I'm sorry. I answered.
So once
I asked
again,
you my
he's
question
not
first.
going to answer this because once again, it just shows that his
Answer
worldview
my
is
question
completely
and I'll
absurd.
answer yours.
So
I asked
can we
you
know
first.
the exact width of
I
a
asked
piece
you
of
first.
hair? Can we know the exact width of a piece of hair?
I asked you my question first. I'll answer your
Can
question.
we know the exact width
I'll
of a
answer your
piece of
question
hair?
after you answer mine.
Can we know the exact width
I'll
of
answer
a
your
piece of hair?
question after you answer mine.
Sure. What's your question? Go for it again.
Okay, so fuck, I lost my chain of thought.
I know.
It'll come
You're
back to
completely
me.
yeah. So you're completely
so-
concussed. I can reproduce the question for you. So your
No,
question
no.
was
Earlier,
the question was you claim that unicorns exist. Can you prove that to be false?
unicorn. Yeah. Well, this is the how am I wrong? is
So
what
then
I'm
my
asking
answer to you is that you cannot prove them to be true because
If
you have
I
no evidence
say
of them.
You have
If
no
you have
evidence
zero
that
evidence
it
of
doesn't
them, then
exist.
I can dismiss it without any evidence.
But you have
by the way.
zero evidence that it doesn't exist.
I can dismiss the claim that it does exist based off of zero evidence that you've provided me.
And I could
And a claim made without evidence can be dismissed
now
without
I
evidence.
could
You realize
dismiss.
that, right?
Now I could dismiss that you don't have access to the other 99% of species that have ever lived on Earth. Great. I'm glad. we
Yeah,
agree
but
there.
I don't claim that the 99% of species that exists outside of us is like categorized or anything.
That's not.
I don't have that claim.
doesn't matter.
I make claims off of things we do know. So
You don't have access to the thing
so
you
I make
need
claims
to
off of things that
prove
we
your
do have
worldview.
access to information on. I don't make claims on something we don't have information on. That's why, again, like I went on the whole mutation thing. I told you I don't know every single step that occurs
you don't know.
in the mutation of a gene. That doesn't mean that therefore I don't know anything. So once again, can we know the exact width of a of hair? Of a single
I already
strand of
answered
hair?
this earlier, and I said
So
no,
yeah,
I
can
remember.
you answer it again for the audience, please?
Yeah, no, we don't always know the exact
So,
width. of a
under your
hair.
worldview,
Yeah.
because we don't have the exact precise measurement of a single strand of hair, does that mean we can understand the width of the hair or no?
We could measure it.
So we can measure it, but do you
We
understand
have
that
access
every
to the
measurement
hair.
has?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you understand that each measurement has some level of uncertainty to it?
Maybe.
Maybe. Can you provide me any measurement that is
Depends on the
exact?
Depends on the accuracy of the method
you-
you're using.
So can you provide any measurement that is exact?
Only the ones we arbitrarily make up.
So no, you can't provide any exact measurements.
I just
that
told
was
you-
an
I just
answer right there.
answered your
Again, you don't
question.
understand. So I understand why this question is
Exact
very hard
measurements
to
are
understand because
arbitrary.
you don't understand statistics. You don't understand how to
You don't
perform
understand
experiments. You don't
philosophy of
understand how
language.
to do anything. So this just shows that you not only are like
Well, but
completely arrogant, but you're also
you said
retarded.
language
and
was
arrogant.
subjective. You said language is subjective. So how am I
Yeah,
wrong?
we can go over that again, but I'm super duper not interested in
am
dunking
I
on
wrong?
you on that again. So
Dunking
okay,
on me
so-
with
yeah, absolutely.
subjective
So
language?
can you provide to me an objective language, please?
An objective
Nope,
language?
he's done what once again.
There's no
can't
such
do it.
thing
So
as
anyways,
objective
let's move on to the
language.
next
I never
question.
said there was. I never said
Let's
there
move
was.
on to the next question. I'm done.
Yeah. No, you don't have.
All right.
don't
So
have
you've been
access to
stun locked in.
language,
So
yeah.
let's move on.
The next
For
question.
the sake of the audience who probably paid.
Can we see
this.
Spike, and will Spike run for office in 2028?
So Spike is sure. You know what? Spike will run for office in 2028 if he decides to, of course. But since Spike is all knowing, all perfect, I can only hope that he will. But maybe his plans are much greater than we all know.
And Spike, we trust. Viva la Spike.
Hell yeah.
All right, that comes to the end of the questions. So, audience has come away with what they've come away with, and I think we have taken this to its logical conclusion.
Leith, thank you for hosting and being the moderator today. Bones, I know it wasn't always cordial the whole time, but I respect you for coming up and defending your worldview, or attempting to defend your worldview.
I respect the art of blood sports, okay? I am more than happy to wall in the mug with any pig that gets in there with me. Or
No
in this
point.
case, any great ape that gets in the ring with me.
Oh, that's for you, Leith.
It's not
I'm
even
the pig,
casual
you're the
anymore.
ape,
It's
right?
not even casual anymore.
Hey, that's him talking. It wasn't me, bro. Calm down. All
I
right,
mean,
guys.
it
Hey.
applies to you too. So, I mean, I treat
No,
everyone
fuck
equally. So
no.
every human is a great ape.
I'm a great white
Okay.
ape. How about that? Yeah.
What?
I mean, based off of the amount of like melanin, sure, like we can make that distinction. Just
Okay,
depends on like
guys.
what.
All right, guys. Well,
Depends on
have
what you
fun.
need.
Thank you for coming through,
thank
Bones.
You both
I
for
appreciate
your time.
And Joe, thank you
Yep.
again. I believe the people were
Sayonara.
entertained. So a good Friday was had by all. And I'm going to shoot you a friend request, Bones.
Absolutely.
It's-
I've seen you in other discords. Just don't think we've ever interacted.
Yeah, at least the man, bro. You'll see him more, right? When he comes back to Wix, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I expect to be coming back soon. Just not yet.
Ah, perfect.
But I will be back. I missed
He's a
the
little,
class.
he's a little hesitant for a certain reason, but
I got a
they'll
lot
come
of
back.
reasons, because that place is a time sink. Every time you look away, there's some jacked up conversation going on. It's like, I need to focus on things right now.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Have you ever jumped
I mean,
into
yeah,
the?
this conversation being an example lasting like 3 hours.
Yeah, have you ever jumped Bones into like the random, like the group chats in there, just to like be a fly on the wall and just see like the type of things they fight about?
I've actually been in one of those. There is an ANCAP like Twitter group that I've made my way into.
Oh, I meant
and
just
it
for
is-
Wix group, just for
for Wix,
where we
I've-
met. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they have
Oh,
massive
it's a
VCs
fun
in
time.
there.
Yeah, massive. Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll just hop into the VCs and listen in, but not in there all that frequently.
Yeah, it's a fun time sometimes. Sometimes it's a fucking train wreck though, especially if Owlish is in there. All right,
I don't know.
but
I've
hey,
had my fun in there for sure.
Oh, they want to
Yeah,
know what
we'll
office Spike will be
around.
running for.
Yeah, what ticket is he running on?
Oh, there was more questions in the YouTube. 1 second. So
Oh, shit, yeah.
man,
Absolutely.
speed run him.
they want to
hungry.
know, could unicorns exist?
I believe that's
Yeah,
for,
they're it could be the case that they could exist. Sure. It would just
unicorns.
yeah, it just depends on how you define unicorns. In this case, I would define them to be like maybe some type of like horse-like mammal that has a like some horn similar to like maybe a rhino's, maybe, or maybe it's evolved in some different way where it uses like a different, or rather they grow different material.
Then why were you hating on unicorns earlier when I wanted a unicorn?
Oh, because they currently don't exist,
Fuck.
as
Why you
as
gotta tell
defined
me
by
that?
anyone. Like in reality.
There's
You
a
gonna tell me
hilarious
Santa
meme
doesn't
for
exist
this.
next?
No, Santa does in fact exist.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And
Thanks for
then-
not taking everything from me.
A question directly from Owlish to Joe. Do you think you won this?
Oh fuck! Speak of the devil.
What? What was the question?
Do you think you won this?
Do I think I won this? I'm gonna give a Bones answer. Yes, yes, and no.
So contradiction, got it.
Most excellent.
That
All right.
about sums up your positions.
All right. I guess we're gonna go ahead and
Borrowed
end
it
it
from
there.
you. I learned from the best. All right. Peace out, guys.
All right. So ending the call. All right, so we survived, and I hope everyone had fun. I'm going to go ahead and raid out unless anybody has any questions. We do have something akin to a unicorn, but it's a species of deer. Yeah, so there was this show that I watched where people like there was the people that made all the animals and things for the earth, and some dude really wanted to make a unicorn, but every time he made the unicorn, the thing dropped dead immediately because it didn't have, you know, enough nutrients for bone density or anything. Like, it just could not maintain itself. So I would say technically a unicorn cannot exist, but I'm not gonna burst Joe's bubble on that. So on the Twitch, let's see who we raid into. Who is live, and if it's the horseradish, it's definitely going to be the horseradish. Yep, it's the horseradish. So we raid into the horseradish. And if you like your fellow streamers, don't put an underscore in your name. But as it goes, thank you all for hanging out. I will be back again tomorrow for the debates, tomorrow night at around 5 o'clock. So check us out then, and I will catch you tomorrow. As always, chat is the real winner. Peace, y'all.